It's just a terrible thing. Anyway, yo, well, God damn it, refresh. Welcome back to another episode of Roti and Poutine. My name is the MC Armani Reina. Joined once again with the vibe setter himself, MC Valiant, the T.R.A.C. And we have a very special guest this evening. Jake, one of our best friends on the entire planet, your favorite DJ's favorite DJ, your favorite DJ's best friend. You know him as Kill the Noise, a.k.a. EWUN the Gun. I can go on for accolades for days, but we're going to do that throughout this podcast. We are very happy to see you. How are you doing, homie? Everybody, round of applause. Make some noise. Kill the noise. How you doing, homie? How are you?
I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you all for having me here.
Oh, man.
I'm happy to talk to you.
We've been saying for a few months now. We're like, we gotta get Jake.
That's awesome, man. That means a lot. I'm glad that I feel like that I just came into sound check and we just started the podcast.
We did. So it was like we were in pure podcast form as the countdown went down. So all of you wondering what kind of mood we were in, it got a little dark real quick. Anyway, you're doing well. Quarantine's been treating you well. Before we do anything, we like to start the pod off with the same question for every single guest because it's an important question. It's how the chat will pretty much judge you for the rest of it. So no pressure.
Oh, they are judging people up in the chat too.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Excuse me.
Cancel this motherfucker. He doesn't like roti.
What? Jake, Kill the Noise. What is your bucket list food?
Bucket list. I actually have a good answer for that one. I'm actually working on it right now. I got an acorn smoker during the pandemic.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I got it for my birthday, and I was like,
acorn smoker? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's like a if you just Google acorn.
Acorn smoker, sick. It's like a George Foreman.
That would be lit.
It's like a George Foreman grill. Acorn out here, like I want to make a grill. God damn it.
George Foreman ain't got nothing on me.
Acorn grills. Let's get it.
All shit.
I don't know if anyone in the chat smokes meat.
Man, smoked meat is the greatest thing ever created.
The acorn's dope. It's like have you heard of the green egg? It's like a cheaper version of it, but it's also dope. Even though it's cheaper,
it's better.
In some ways, it's better actually.
We're just gonna say it's better.
It's not as fragile as an egg either.
Say it's better.
We're just gonna say it's better. You got
That's
that
just how I justify having the cheap egg. But anyway, I did a pork shoulder. Did pulled pork weeks ago. I worked my way up to doing that one, and then the next one I want to do is a brisket. So that's like my bucket list is to do a big brisket,
proper smoked
smoker. Which, man, I guess I've been reading. It's funny how like production forums and barbecue forums
are like
they have the same kind of nerds on there that are just like, there's a right way to cook a brisket. There's other people like, nah, there's not a right way. You're gonna try to tell me that different parts of the country do it different?
Right.
That's like the beauty of the world, right? That people do it a little bit differently.
I'm starting to feel like the more south you go, the less it is about sauce. It's about rub more than sauce.
I think it depends on who you ask.
You think it's
I think it depends on.
There's this one guy. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name. He's like an authority on brisket from Austin, Texas.
Texas is competitive with that kind of thing right there.
But everyone down south.
What you were just saying is like that's his philosophy. Is he's just like salt, pepper. Like his rub is just like he likes, keeping and preserving the taste of the steak,
purity,
like the meat itself, right?
For sure.
Whereas I did some ribs the other day. I don't know where the guy was from. I think it were Kansas City ribs. And it was like
Kansas City is proper
Kansas
too.
City. Woo.
And it was like rub the ribs with mustard, and then the rub that I made, the dry rub, was like a lot. There's a lot going on there, and then on top of it, it's like you're spraying it with apple juice, and like you got the smoke wood. I forget what mesquite. I think it was mesquite. So it's just really flavorful stuff you're putting on the ribs, right? Like at the end of the day, it's like you're tasting all the seasoning more than you are anything else.
I just ate and now I'm hungry as hell again.
Yeah, speaking of Texas, like the places that I've been to out there, I can't remember off it. And shouts to Astro and the whole Two Tone and all those guys. Most of the spots they took us to was not about that. You would ask for sauce and they would look at you like you weird. Yo, just try it first. You know what I mean?
Oh, right, yeah.
And they was right after. Honestly, they were right. Like, oh,
It's funny.
you need nothing.
It's funny you say that both of those chat rooms are similar. I just pictured like your next YouTube video. Like, look, guys, kill noise brisket. And someone's like, your snare sucks. And you're like, what? That
Yeah.
that doesn't even make sense.
Well, I mean, that's what it is.
I got my
started
patented
following, like,
kill the noise snare sucks seasoning. See, that's what you need to do. You need to market that snare sucks seasoning.
No, what that implies is snare.
That's a great
It's alliterative.
merch item or something.
Your snare
That's right.
sucks.
That's right. Snare sucks seasoning.
barbecue sauce. I like it.
This is how millionaires get made, y'all.
Yeah,
Let's
we
get
did it. All y'all in the chat. It's already been
Amen.
said here. Don't go stealing it. All right. Valiant, what'd you have for what was your dinner of the week?
I've made it twice actually. I made burritos, but I made it with black bean. I dabbled into the chicken. Black beans. Did my own, garlic, salt, pepper, chili, cumin, all that stuff. I was married to a Mexican lady once upon a time, and she taught me how to properly make this kind of food. So that's what happens when you move to the Southwest. You learn how to cook Mexican properly. Avocado and what else was there? There was a lot, and they actually
styling on us on the low.
they turned out
It's
no,
a
they
weird
turned out
flex,
good. I'm
right?
pretty
It was
proud of
weird.
them.
It was a weird
I
flex.
was pretty proud of him.
He flexed like 3 different things in one sentence.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to take that right now, but it's all good. Track, what about you? What was your food of the week, man?
I'm gonna just go to last night instead of tonight, and shouts to Sophie. So
What?
We hung out with Sophie Mari out in West Palm, yeah, that's West Palm, like downtown West Palm, and we hit the spot called Lenora's that listen, I've never seen this before. We ordered mussels, like it's on the appetizer.
Okay.
And when the mussels came, it was in like this super huge dish covered in this like baked over bread over the top. You got to understand what that means. It's something really special when your lady gets in and she cuts the top open for the breadish part, and the mussels are there, and you just start dipping the bread in the mussels. Listen,
Oh,
Okay.
that's
it was a first
crazy.
experience.
Okay.
A
I'm
first
with that.
experience.
What's the name of that
sorts.
place? Free
Shouts to
promotion?
Lenora's.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yo,
I mean, is that a messy meal? Was there a lot of
it
napkins
could
involved?
be messy. We had other things
he's a
there, of
grown-ass
course, but
man,
like
I'm sure
overall, the food was good. But it was just the presentation.
All right.
Like I think, I had like something like lasagna, but it was like so easy. You could just swallow it, man. Like it was crazy. So,
Well, if you can't swallow your food, that's probably a bad sign.
Yeah, the truth though. Truth.
It's gonna be one of those
I have
episodes.
a question.
What's up?
So I know, Armani, you're in Atlanta. What city are you guys in?
Oh well, I'm a New Yorker, but I'm down in Florida right now, over in Palm Beach. So
Okay.
You just arrived
Yeah.
there, though, to be fair.
Valiant, where are you at?
I'm about an hour and a half outside Toronto. I wouldn't call it a city, that's for sure.
yeah,
All
But
right.
yeah, I'm like in a rural area.
Dope.
But,
I mean, I'm familiar.
Yeah, he's originally
No,
from Buffalo. You
that
guys
area.
have a lot in common.
That's right. Bad accents and everything.
I was gonna ask. I saw MJ's in the chat.
Yes, sir.
MJ.
I was going to
Yes,
get
sir.
to that, actually.
Well, I was gonna ask you. Like, we were talking about barbecue. There's some good barbecue places in Atlanta too. I went to.
Yes,
Like
sir.
Fox Brothers. Is that
Fox
still, like,
Brothers is the jam.
the spot? What else is there?
Also,
Yeah.
they need to work on their cornbread, though. I probably shouldn't say that out loud.
There's a
I
spot
love
that shouts.
My bad. That
There's
cornbread
a spot
is-
that Lieutenant Reed took us to in Atlanta that I was pretty impressed with. Who was
Bill's
pretty
Mafia.
straight to the point. I forgot the name of it. He would probably mention it in a minute. Bill's
Yeah.
Mafia. It was called
Lieutenant Reed, the
Bill's
Bills Mafia. Yeah.
Yo, man,
That's the only thing badass that's related to the Buffalo Bills right now.
Bill's Mafia.
Yeah, man.
Oh, they did pretty well last year. I'm pretty proud of
They're
Buffalo
going to
for.
continue to be good. They're
It's
good.
unfortunate though. We had
I hope so, man, because the Sabres are just fucking.
we had
they're
like a little,
so bad.
we had
Mike's
like a
a lot.
little Super Bowl party. There's actually a lot of people out here in LA from upstate New York.
Yep.
Everyone was so excited, right, about the Buffalo Bills getting in the Super Bowl. So we had like a party, and the party got like sadder and sadder.
Wow.
I was like, what are you guys talking about? We're used to this shit. It's been a while since we've been in the Super Bowl, but the disappointment's part of the party. You know what I'm saying? With the Bills.
Anyway, for the record, we get a place called 26 Thai here in Kitchen. They make phenomenal Thai food, and
Yeah, you've mentioned them before.
Tonight I tried something different. It was called a basil gai, which is basically minced chicken, basil, Thai sauce, and egg on top with some garlic rice. And the A team was in the kitchen tonight. That was the best 26 Thai I've had. And ended up with some caramel custard. It was probably too much, actually.
Put you over the edge.
Yeah, it was like, all right, relax.
You're like, this is a bad choice.
This was not. We were on a good path.
There's a certain age you hit that dessert after dinner becomes not necessarily a great idea.
Dessert after dinner is fine, but that was like heavy on the caramel. I was like,
dude,
relax.
You know, for me, dude,
you're an adult.
If it ain't tiramisu, I don't want it anymore. Maybe I'll dabble with like an apple pie with some, ice cream or whipped cream but that's it. I'm not too far outside of whatever dessert.
Yeah, man, I take tiramisu pretty fucking seriously.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the situation was rough.
If the shit don't taste like clouds, I don't want it, bro.
Clouds. This is the most delicious cloud I've ever had. Roti and Poutine, shout out to the rap team, everybody in the chat right now, especially Sugar Brat and MJ. Thank you so much, you guys. This would be nothing without you there in the chat. Shout out everybody in the chat right now. I see a lot of regulars in there. Dilly's in there.
Okay, hey, big up KC in the chat right now.
Hey, Casey's in the chat. I see you. Simeon was good. Wow, woo. I think Issa was in there somewhere. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but shout out my Atlanta crews in here. If you guys shout out your cities, I will shout you out at some point. But it's good to see you.
Casey is going to be interviewing me, by the way, on Twitch.
That's right. Casey's part of the podcast gang now.
Yeah, on Saturday at noon Eastern time, so that's 5 p.m. London time. And sadly, that is also 9 a.m. LA time. So apologies to the West Coast.
Sadly.
You guys got to get up early.
You can catch the archive. It's all good. Jake, how you been, man? Like, it's been a year now a little past a year since we've been locked down. I know you were super busy. I know you're still super busy working on a ton of things. I've caught your podcast. You've been working on music. Like, how have you been? How's the pandemic been treating you, so to speak?
Yeah, like I said before, the grilling has been like it was like a weird gift. It was one of the few silver linings of that whole situation for this past year. Because man, I was pretty depressed for a while there. Like, I'm sure. And uncertain, having family to look after, being a musician. I was like, damn. I'm not afraid to go work at Home Depot or whatever. I'll go do that. Right. I got no problems doing that. But it was like more of like, man, I come all this way, and I kind of
didn't
expect it to get like a dry erase board, like my career just
gone.
Lord. And then associated with it, as we all know, there's like a lot of questions like about how I feel about what it looks like going back into maybe doing shows. Like, where's the line for me with, taking shows or not taking shows or.
Right.
So there's been a roller coaster, but all that goes away when you're like looking at a grill, right? And you're like, you're like, I don't want to burn that. Like all of a sudden you're it's the power of now. That's another book that I read, another silver lining. I read Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now.
Sick.
Which has kind of like, people have different views on it. I'm a pretty skeptical person, but I found a lot of great messages and like, I guess a good philosophy there that worked for me. Like actually a lot of the stuff we were talking about before we hit go on the stream, like about just, time marches on. No one's getting any younger in this world, and problems come in all different forms, and just realizing that the only thing that any of us have is the moment that we're in, and
Absolutely.
there's a lot of gratitude that comes along with that. And yeah, I started realizing a lot of my anxiety and being depressed and stuff had a lot to do with me thinking about things that hadn't happened yet, like just thinking about way down the line, like and sure enough, like I kind of think back now to how I thought about things. What is it? What month is it? It's May.
It's May, the greatest month. The greatest month.
Some month. I don't
I
remember.
think back to May last year, man. I was like, I kind of felt like I was looking like down like a tunnel,
Yeah.
Like it was like,
well,
I don't know where the light is.
Now, are you talking like
we
sort
were
of like
good.
pandemic related depression, or like is it something you've been struggling with kind of for your whole life?
I don't, what? It's weird because I don't know. I think it was like all of a sudden,
not uncommon.
Yeah, you're kind of like, it felt like a creeping doom and gloom that started to kind of come in, rolling in, right? And then next thing you know, it's like, when did this start? I mean, even in more ways than one, right? I don't know if you all felt this way, but during the lockdown, it was like all of a sudden you're like, what day is today? And you'd be like, Thursday. And you'd be like, damn, I thought it was Thursday. I thought, like, how is it?
It was like Groundhog Day every day. Yeah, it was the same
every day.
day
Every day was Saturday for sure. And another thing,
last night was Saturday.
A lot of things too is for people who have been dealing with a lot of depression. For myself, I felt I was helping people behind closed doors because I've dealt with depression beforehand. I was very aware of it. And a lot of people who are busy, they're so busy they don't realize they're dealing with depression. So when we were all in lockdown and inside, it was the first time people got to sit down and be in their own heads for long. And that could be a lot. Man. You know what I mean? That was a lot to deal with for a lot of people. Like, why am I feeling? Have I always felt this way? And you're like, yeah, you have. But you've been,
things have slowed
cooking.
down. And so I want to say that what it was a sort of a test of your riches, meaning your financial and how rich you are with your supportive side and, the people around you, because, they both mattered at a point like this where it was like, holy snap, it's, you have to sit down and now think about yourself, when the answer usually was get up and go and everything will be okay. So, it's just a different thing. So moving forward, I guess we kind of learned that, look, we need to take care of self, you know what I mean? As much as we need to take care of all of other important things.
I feel like in those first couple months, and this is something you guys know, anyone who follows me or whatever, the most powerful word on this planet, and I think something we embraced during the first 6 months of that pandemic, was to learn how to be empathetic. I think everybody finally looked at each other like, holy shit, we're all going through this shit together. Like, everyone's going through some shit right now. And the sense of community, up until politics got involved, was very, very strong, I don't know where it went left. I mean, I do know where it went left. We're not.
Let's do that. The podcast and go there.
But I felt the sense of community was very strong. I felt like we bonded with friends more. Like kind of shaved off some who didn't need to be. But it's been an interesting ride this year for sure. And
we found each other, the three of us. We made this show all because of this. You know what I mean? So,
hearts emojis, y'all. We need hearts emojis for the love in here right now. This is going down.
I can't. There it is. There it is.
I was going to say that I think what's really amazing about, like, you look for like the silver lining and all this, and what you were just saying is like, I've seen that in like so many different groups of friends where they've created this like almost like a support group, it's like,
absolutely.
It's not just, it's a lot of times under the impetus of like, yo, what are you guys working on? Like, like it's pretty topical, but beneath the exterior, there's like it's like, yo, like I care about you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you doing, man? Like, is everything all right?
Shit, like, it felt like the newest question ever asked when somebody says that to you.
And then
like, what?
And then I've realized I spent more time over this past year gravitating to platforms like Twitch and Discord because there's discourse there. There's like, it's not like Twitter where you kind of like, it almost feels like you plug in information and then it's like garbage in, garbage out system. Whereas on Twitch, like everything is more nuanced and there's more there's actual people's presence in the
and tone of voice too. You can hear someone what they mean. That's why like Clubhouse has gotten so big, you know, because people can actually just talk to each other.
That's what Twitter. That's what they really want. Yeah.
Twitter's like screaming into a void and the weirdest echo coming back that has nothing to do with anything, and you're just like, wait, what? But
also, people can interpret, like you saying, you know, it's like you say something and people can go, "Oh yeah, but you didn't mention this," and you know, and then take one little. You know, it's like they take out their.
It provides the context that's missing in text-based communication.
I need everything explained to me in 140 characters. It's just like, no, that's
do that pretty well, I guess, right?
Yeah. So even though there are so many people exchanging ideas and information on Twitter, there isn't a feeling of connection with people in that space. It feels very combative and like, you know, it's set up to reward people that create controversy as well. So
absolutely.
You know, to me, it's like I don't blame what I was talking to Bro Safari about this.
Shout out Nick.
More than once, where he was just like, "I'm done with Twitter," like for all those reasons you just mentioned. You know, like it's just not.
I think everyone knows, either has gone through or knows somebody who has had the experience of swearing off one or more of these social media platforms.
Nick, you know what I mean? Like, to it, though. Nick's like, fuck that shit.
Nick actually like did it.
Nick hops on every now and then to promote, but like outside of that, he's like, fam, I'm good. Unless you tag my name and it's something that's important, he's far away from that shit. He's
that's been really inspiring to me. Like, I'm good because of this type of shit. You know, like having that connection also with not only my peers, like in the music world, but now I'm sure the same thing happened with y'all too. Like people that come and are here. I saw you or heard you early on shout out some of the regulars that are here all the time.
Yeah, man. Like,
and it's like they become your peers. Before it was like there wasn't really a huge separation between me and my audience.
Yeah, you're very in tune. Very.
But now it's really like, it's that there's a different level of gratitude there for me now.
Dude,
like,
I'm like, and it's also a little bit like when you go out to that weekly.
That's exactly what it's like.
See everybody, hey, what's up? You know, you have some people, you talk, blah blah blah. 6'5". I immediately I think of like 658 Main in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
And like that
100%.
Was like that. You'd go. I would go. I never. Yeah, exactly. And I would go, and I would never know. I would never go with anybody because I knew I would know everyone there.
Yeah.
And this kind of thing, and like the Toronto Jungle Stream, I go in and I'm just like, I know everybody. Yeah, exactly. No, dude, it is that like that.
It's and like they're always glad you came.
I mean, look, there are people in this. There are people in this chat. There are people in this chat right now who have come here every single week for a year. That's crazy.
Shouts to my man Dilly.
Dilly's
right.
in there.
And then Dilly just comments. He's like, I was proper gutted. I missed last week's show. And he's here all the time. If he misses it, there's always a reason. And he's always like, damn, I'm sorry. And we always miss him.
And here's the trippy part about how connected this universe is. It's not even like we say, oh shit, Dilly's missing. You'll look in the chat and the chat will know Dilly's missing.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I know.
That's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that. Like even Sugar Brat, who's become like she's always been the social media goddess. But I mean, like she lucked on here and she became family through this. I can't wait till we can all hang out. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's been that kind of connection. Your stream has been really dope. We talked about you possibly. I'm not going to do whatever with that, but your stream was great while you were doing it. You had many people on. You had your Discord running at the same time. I hopped in there a few times. I was highly impressed with how much you were navigating as I sit here and navigate this and go, I don't know how he did all that, but super impressive. The conversations were great.
It got to the point where it was like the people that started off just like popping in every week. They were like, they're like the guy in my chat that really was always really supportive was my boy Zach. Now he's like my boy. Right. Whenever shit went wrong, I would be like, Zach, like you help me out with this, you know. Little by little, it was like it became like just a group project, similarly to what you're saying, Valiant. Like back in the day in Rochester and Buffalo, like the bottom line is that that scene like just wouldn't exist if everyone didn't help out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there was no, including the club owners and shit too, where they were like,
especially in cities like ours, where Buffalo and Rochester were these like small cities. They were like 200,000 and 300,000 people in the city, and like it wasn't like it was just absolutely bursting at the seams with like dance music culture. You really had to dig for that shit, and so the communities really held each other close.
No one's gonna do this unless we do it. So, and then I think a lot of people came in, and that kind of, the reward is infectious too, of like breaking even and having one of your favorite artists come to town.
Right.
And that's how I met like a lot of the guys Nick, Anthony, Mayhem. Like the only reason I ever got a chance to meet those guys is because we like flew them into Rochester to like play a show, you know.
Let's go. Let's. This is a good point to actually reel it back, and let's go to the beginnings of you as a musical human being. So talk about you and I. You and I come from similar cities. I venture to guess we probably have somewhat similar musical influences, being a couple of white boys from the Great Lakes Steel Belt area.
Damn it.
So
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it was pretty eclectic.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I think
lucky. Like I think from we were, being in that region, it's like I don't really. I mean, I'm a New York guy, but I was always felt like I was under this weird stigma where it was like, I'd be like, yeah, I'm from New York. And they're like, oh yeah, New York City, man. That's great down there. I'm like,
no, sorry.
Far away, man. I'm like more of a Canadian.
Sorry.
I started realizing that. Yeah.
But I think it's the time period that we were born into. There was a certain nexus of cultural experimentation with like skateboarding and alternative music and hip hop and metal and industrial, and like everything just was in this cool mix at that time. In
that case, everyone in this chat, I would assume, is probably lucky. We got lucky to grow up in the 90s, man. Like that's such a cool period.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's like I look at what kids are listening to now. Damn it, that made me feel old to say that.
Hey, bro.
Kids these days,
lean into it, man. You got to lean into it.
I heard an interview today with, I forget who it was, but they were referencing like the Prodigy and Chemical Brothers and stuff like that, and I was like, I mean, same.
Holy shit.
Even though I'm from a different generation, like that's dope that people are still talking about all of that, and even like I just saw a record come out the other day from Health with 9 Inch Nails, and I'm like, man, I'm like, I never stopped listening to 9 Inch Nails since I was like 12.
What kind of musical mix did you grow up in? For you,
it was somewhere in the middle of like hip hop, rock and roll, electronic music. That I mean, the first time I heard drum and bass was Ronnie Size, Brown Paper Bag. Like it's like I'm watching like Firestarter, Ronnie Size, 9 Inch Nails, Closer, Alice in Chains. Like, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. I mean, I would still, that's my playlist still, right?
Right.
And then throw some shit over the ages in the mix as well. I mean, I think that like I was pretty much like a melting pot of inspiration. Then when I found out about dance music, which actually was through 9 Inch Nails, because 9 Inch Nails had a remix album called Further Down the Spiral, and on that remix album they had this guy Richard D. James who remixed the song, who ended up being the FX Twin. Right. But I got into Square Pusher, who was much more
Square Pusher. Jeez.
Square Pusher was on a different fucking level.
Forward. I was like, this is, and also, believe it or not, my dad was like kind of tuned in weirdly for being a lot older, obviously, because he worked at the newspaper in our hometown, and like media review guys back when they used to do that in newspapers, records and shit. He would come home with like CDs and stuff and be like, here you go, like listen to some of this shit. And then there was a small fragment of a drum and bass scene in Rochester that was like a piece, but we were lucky enough to be within proximity to Toronto, which was very close.
Right. And
actually, you guys had like Marcus Visionary on your show here. I mean, we were like, these were the guys that we got to see that would come down. Like we'd see Marcus come down, Ryan Ruckus, Capital J, like
Legends.
that. What is
Jay.
it? Sniper,
Jesus.
Mystical Influence.
Sniper and Mystical, yeah. Sometimes Everfresh, sometimes, yeah, all those
Yeah,
guys. man.
Everfresh,
Wow.
yeah. Like all those guys. And then the second we were 19, obviously you already know. We were up there getting drunk.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And went to a lot of shows up there. The biggest drum and bass show I got a chance to see, the first one was I saw Andy C up there somewhere with I forget who else is on the lineup. But
GQ.
I forget
mean
who was
DJ
all
Wise?
on there. It was like a proper like full UK.
Was
Like,
it a government joint as well?
it wasn't at the Gov. It was somewhere else. I can't remember
Okay.
what it was, but I was
It's
like
not a temple?
19.
Was it
20 years
97?
ago. I'll
That
find,
was the
I'll
show
find
for
it.
me,
It was
man.
Cody
Andy
will-
C dropped through Toronto quite a bit. Those guys came through quite a bit. It was
For sure.
such
lot
a
of them
fucking
came to
great
Buffalo.
time.
as well. But man, you know what? I Googled it and I found the fucking show, man, that I saw Armani. I saw you. I brought this up to you more than once. But me and my boy Cody drove down to DC
Cody. Sorry.
to the DC tunnel
Yes,
and
sir.
saw you play with Rap.
Oh,
this
what a
was in
night. I remember that
2003.
night. Yeah,
It was
bro.
2003. I found the flyer. It's actually on some like, here it is, Pure Rave. It's on
Yeah.
purerave.com.
Yeah. You have the
Title
flyer.
Animation Promoter DC Skills. And it was May 17th, 2003. DJ Rap, Armani, Dave Auday, The Fuzz, Chris Warren, Oscar Rojas.
I didn't take long to find out. So
Oscar Rojas. I haven't heard that name in forever.
Then there's a drum
Bro,
and bass room,
2003, and I remember that party.
Shadow Man Boogie
Shadow Man, holy shit.
Odie.
with MC Posy D.
Posy D, man.
D.
Shout out.
Hell
We
yeah,
back.
dude.
Action Jackson.
Hey,
Action
shit.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, Action Jackson.
Oh yeah. Machete. Boom.
Oh,
What a
okay.
heavy party.
Pals. Yeah. So
crazy.
Real quick on that flip right there. Happy belated birthday to Posy D, and super happy belated birthday to Sugar Brat, who is in the chat right now. And
Yes,
everybody
sir.
who didn't see me type it, just go ahead and throw her a shout out real quick.
Shout out. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, 2003. I remember that, man. I remember that party. I had a good time with rap, man. Every party we played was a good one for sure.
Do you remember? I brought this up to you before. I don't know if you remember this. You were doing your thing, and I remember the stage was set up like a temple, and it had like these giant. I can't remember exactly what they looked like, but there are these. It was like stage production.
Mhm.
And it was like a giant statue fell on you. Do you remember this shit?
I don't remember the stage.
You were like
One time.
you're like freestyling or doing some shit, and you got hit, and then you're like, it didn't knock you over. The thing was huge though, and then you just kind of like did like a flex. It was dope. But we were like, wow, that was amazing. Like, did anybody else see that? You know?
The show must go on.
But that was that. So those were my formidable years. Was like early 2000s, where like all of a sudden all the things I was interested in converged with
Right.
drum and bass. It was like it was all the like when I listened to like Ed Rush and Optical Alien Girl, I was like, this is industrial music to me. Like
Mhm.
1000.
This sounds closer to, you know, like Skinny Puppy and Nine Inch Nails and all that shit than it is to the drum and bass I was listening to at the time, which was like jungle. It was like
Right.
hardcore, like,
Rock
you know, it
on.
was like, yeah, it was like, I mean, with shit like DJ Rap and like fucking, you know, Ganja Records and fucking
Sheesh, shout out.
Congo Natty and all that kind of stuff, right?
Ooh.
I was like, how somehow within this world, all the hip hop I was listening to, all the rock oriented stuff I was listening to, electronic music, it all somehow worked. And also the crowd, right? Like the group
Oh,
of people in Rochester was very dynamic as well, which was, yeah, I mean, that to me is where it was at. And my friends that didn't understand it, because I was from the suburbs. I was from Henrietta, New York.
Henrietta.
it was the same
My
with me.
friends
It
were
was
all
like,
just like, why,
pull-
like,
pull-
why, like, what the fuck is this music? that you're listening to?
same dog.
And
I
then-
lost so many hip hop friends who've just been like, fam, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but this ain't it. I was like, you don't
But then also,
understand.
it's like, I mean, it's like you could make someone a believer by bringing them to a show, and then they'd be like, I mean, whether they understood it or not, they knew there was something going on there that was
Facts.
it was abnormal, right? It was something interesting and new, and that to me was, you know, that's something that we don't need to go there because you know it's a contentious topic about where we're at with the rave culture in 2000. We don't actually know what it looks like in 2021 because
no, we don't.
No
pandemic,
clue,
right?
actually.
But
I'm curious.
some of that connectedness that y'all are talking about with the community, with Twitch and all this kind of stuff, like you were saying, Valiant, like it reminds me so much of the local rave scene, right?
Exactly.
And I, there's things I really love about the iteration, and there's still some of that exists in cities, right? Like the smaller kind of, like grassroots kind of movements with music, of course. But I think that there's also like this culture that's being, it's I mean, it's just, it is what it is. Like metrics and social media and, the kind of like the race for relevancy against each other and all this kind of shit. It's like created this toxic kind of culture where you're not relevant and like you're not doing anything unless you're the main narrative of what's going on. But what always made like drum and bass, for example, what always made it interesting to me is that it was this special space that was kind of
community.
Yeah, and you had to kind of know, where it was to find it, and like
it's cool. Like I even shows like this, podcasts that you've done, podcasts like Craze does, things like that. Like your name popped up because you subscribed. Thank you. That was your reward. No, I'm just shout out my host. I love Craze to death. Only I joke with
Tier
him.
one
Anyway,
benefits. We say hi.
Yeah, gang. No, but seriously, going back to that sense of community, like Platinum was one of the most premier drum and bass nights on the East Coast, period. We loved Philly, loved it in Philly. It was my upbringing. Do you know what I remember most about that club? Sure, I remember some of the wicked parties and what was that? The wicked parties and the smash.
Powdies.
I don't know what happened. Just,
all right.
I have no idea.
You're getting powdy.
Just gonna dial it back. Some of the Smashdown parties and things of that nature. But you know what? Like some of my greatest memories were standing out front with a Rondé Gibson, just shooting the shit. Like, you know what I mean? Just anybody who was anybody was, you can go in, you'd come back out. They had the latest dish downstairs. There was that, no matter what party you went to, there was that atmosphere. Everyone knew everyone. Everyone talked regularly. And like when you phased out of that and everyone got busy, you kind of lost that a little bit. And it's not a fault of anything. That's what happens when things get popular. You know what I mean? It's just like people moving is too busy. And we kind of got away from that. I made a joke a long time ago. I miss freestyles. I miss Dre and I rapping outside of a venue while another DJ is playing. Like, that would never happen now. It might now because we're kind of moving back to... I'm hoping that a lot of us are kind of moving back to that sense of community and
well, I was going to say, it's almost like, remember, like, I came into raving in 94, and that's when IRC chat was a big thing, and like it was really like the sort of the infancy of like everybody getting online and then you'd meet each other at raves and stuff like that, and like it was like this online community. And I'm kind of hoping that we have some form of that from this. I'm hoping that people have made friends online in Twitch chat or Discord or whatever, and that translates into real life friendships. You see them out at the club. I hope that part of it kind of is making a comeback after we sort of can get back to some sort of real life event situation, because that was one of my favorite parts of it. But Jake, in terms of like DJing, when did you actually start DJing? How did that kind of come about?
I got a pair of Gemini BD10s or some.
So you had in your head, I'm going to be a DJ.
Yeah, I went to a show. It was like a rave in Rochester, and it was like, okay, what is that guy doing up there? Because I want to do that. And me and my friends were like, just using our own means, figured it out. I still remember there was like pro sound almost like skateboard manual, but for pro sound.
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
I do remember that. Yeah, and I forget exactly what it's called, but I used to get it every month.
And
the catalog.
I afford in here, Gemini BD10s. It wasn't like, now people. Damn, I don't want to sound like a boomer here, but I'm saying you couldn't go down to like, it was like pre.
There was no Guitar Center.
Guitar Center, yeah.
Right. There was none of that.
It was like, what the fuck do you kids want?
Yeah.
Turntables.
We had Powerhouse Pro Sound out in the suburbs. You had to go out there. And it was this weird house
Yeah.
with like, you know how like in Buffalo and Rochester, there's a lot of houses with businesses on the first floor. Like it was like that.
Yeah.
And it was all crowded in there. And that's where like a lot of the raves in Buffalo would get their sound. And Exotech actually worked there for a while. But that's where you would have to go. Otherwise, you'd have to buy them used off of some like retired hip hop DJ or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just
the mixer, you know, some of y'all will know Gemini BD10s, and my mixer was the Jazzy Jeff. It was a Jazzy Jeff signature Gemini mixer. And it was actually tight. I wish I fucking still had it.
I was gonna ask, you still got it? That's
No, I don't have it anymore.
To the crowd
it was dope. It's like a little tiny, it was small. Oh, there it is. Look it up. It's got a signature on it. It's tight.
Now, were you like DJing with Cody like from the beginning or what? Because you guys were like kind of known as a pair for a little while.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, like I was just talking to him about this the other day. I was a little bit older than him. I was DJing with my boy Marcos. Like him and I were the same age. You know, in high school, it's a big deal being the same age, you know? Like if you're a little bit younger, it's like you're not cool. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I fell off. I actually like not only fell off from DJing, but like I dropped out of school, all kinds of shit for a year. And then I got my shit back together and got back into school, and I was a grade behind. So, and then Cody was like, now he's like on my, like, now I was on his level, he was on my level. I don't know how you look at that situation.
It's like the blip. It's like the blip in the Avengers. Sorry. I don't mean to nerd out, but
he was like, yo, man. He was like, you remember that one episode of The Simpsons where the kids try to get Krusty the Clown back into the game?
Yes.
Remember? It was like one of those situations where he's like, yo, man, you should get back into DJing, dude. Like, I remember you used to DJ. I saw you DJ one time. It was dope. Like house parties in like the suburbs, you know, like at somebody's house. I was like, oh, man, I don't know. Like, and he's like, dude, we actually have a night we started at La Selva.
Big up Flex.
Yeah, DJ Flex, big up. And
yeah, Flex is in San Antonio now, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
Flex, I gotta give, by the way, real quick, I gotta give flowers to Flex. And in fact, I want to get him on the show at some point because the dude, like, seriously gets not enough credit for holding up the fucking scene in upstate New York for like 20 years. Like, the dude was a fucking like warrior, promoted. He DJ'd like in-house and drum and bass. Like, that motherfucker was like tireless.
I think one of the things too that you can attest to this, I'm sure, was that he was very aware of trying to keep the scene very dynamic in terms of like people of different races.
Yep.
Getting girls. He's like, it's not a party if there's not girls. Just remember that for the rest of your life.
And he was super welcoming of the queer community in like drum and bass events too. Like, in fact, I played when I came back to MCing in like 2014, I played a few gigs with Mr. Brown in Rochester, and we played, and I forget what it's called, but we played, it was a gay club. And so like I walked in, I hadn't been there before. I walked in and went out into this patio, this cool fucking patio. It looked like a fucking Pepsi commercial. Like, it had like these lit up trees and shit, and it was like all sweet. And there's like this, like it looked like a 10-foot drag queen standing there. I was like, oh, cool, 10-foot drag queen, right? I was like, I gotta go pee. I go out to find the bathroom. I walk to the right, and I'm walking, and right to my left is this room full of like shirtless men, like dancing. And I was like, oh, this is okay. A few people have.
I think we can all go ahead and say
it was so funny, man. And I was like, oh, okay.
Every gay club is like a super club. We've played in a lot of gay clubs in Philly. You walk in, you're like, this is very nice. Like, these are the best clubs in Philly, or like gay clubs.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, that's like I mean, it's not something that you, I guess, in the moment, especially way back then, would have had any, at least for me, I didn't have any point of reference. But now that I'm a bit older, it's like the only reason I got to play on a good sound system is because our club night was in a gay club.
Well, the only nights we could get weeklies in, when the rave scene started, the only clubs that would let us do rave shit were the gay clubs. Like, that's all we had for years in Buffalo, is like everything was at Club Marcella.
Yes.
There was this other one that was used sometimes, but yeah, man, that was it.
It's funny because the scene, as accepting as it was, we still had those, those
Oh,
weird
yeah.
stigmas back then, and but it was funny, like the best clubs, always, every single time, right in the neighborhood in
True.
Philly, like they
Even
had,
in New York, I can
dude,
agree
we
with that.
threw
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah, man.
tons of shows, and they were
It was
always
either
walked in,
that
like the sound in
or
here
you're
was
playing
crazy.
in like a complete dive scenario, which
Oh yeah, like rapping
it's,
in the headphones and shit.
has its charm as
Wobbling
well.
on the
Yeah.
speakers.
Oh my God. I
I'm trying
remember
to The first place I played in Atlanta, I'm trying to think back to what it was. I think it was the Mark. I think
Ooh,
back in
yes.
the day. Do you remember that?
Hmm.
Is it still there? Probably not.
No,
Okay.
no.
Because
The Mark and the Globe, two epic spots I remember, are no longer here.
Oh,
MJ, what are the Mark and Globe now? MJ in the chat.
MJ knows.
MJ knows.
Jake,
everything.
you had been DJing drum and bass for a while. I remember, I think it was sometime a little bit before I paid you and Cody $50 to play a sushi bar in Buffalo. But
throwing the dollar amount.
all of a sudden you like were, Jake's got tunes now. And people were like, there's a lot of hubbub about the fact that you had tunes.
Yeah.
It was almost like they came out of nowhere. Obviously, they didn't come out of nowhere, but obviously, there's almost like they came out of nowhere. And there was this sort of core group of American drum and bass artists that were linked up with some guys in the UK. So it was like you and Evil Intent and Mayhem and like Spor and like a lot of this like harder, grittier sound.
I think,
How did that sort of little, I don't even know what to call it, but how did that little sort of subset of drum and bass sort of formulate? How did you become part of it?
that for me, I think the guy that reached out first was probably Damien Dieselboy. When he was working on like his mixes. So he was always looking for upcoming talent from the US to like, contribute to his mix CDs, and then, his label, a Human Imprint. That was like kind of when he first started that. So it was partially that, but it was also like connecting through the internet, through actually just being just random dumb shit. Like met Mike, like Gigantor and Treasure Fingers, who's AJ
Shout
from
out the
Evil
gang.
Intent, and Nick. Like I met all those guys actually just through like Dogs on Acid, just not, like barely having anything to do with music. And then it was like just being on those boards like for the entertainment purpose, and then ultimately being comfortable enough to be like, hey, I'm working on music, like can I send you demos and shit?
Engage AIM.
I think because Damien kind of saw that I was in the peripheral of hanging with those guys was why he reached out and was like interested in what was going on. So that but somewhere in that cauldron was how I figured out how to make stuff. And then Cody, again, he like financed the first couple of vinyl. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember Scrunch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember Scrunch Record? There was like a record shop, plant in, I think it was in Philly or Pennsylvania, somewhere, right? Somewhere in that region.
I can't remember
we
where
like
it was,
just cut through,
and that's terrible of me, by the way.
and started making our own, just pressing our own vinyl. And then we're dealing with like literally we drive up to like Toronto to like play a record, and just put records in there on consignment, and like go down to New York and we'll go to Breakbeat Science.
Oh, you guys are punk rock with it then, huh?
We were driving around, all around the Northeast, and like selling vinyl. Which at the time, I don't know how the fuck I had time to do that. I guess it's because I was young and didn't have
we always, we were young. We had time for everything. But
Running around the
I was thinking about
drive to Pittsburgh, sure.
Every once in a while, I still got like all my vinyl and stuff's right over here. Like,
sheesh.
The room. I like flip through it every once in a while, and it's like it knocks a memory loose of that time period, And I'm like, damn.
Do you ever just carry it around to remember how it feels?
No, again, man, it's like, damn, no,
it's like,
I
fuck
don't want
that,
to
no.
move it anymore. I'm like, next time I move, I'm just gonna leave it here. All that shit's fucking heavy.
It's so heavy. Mason used to yell at me all the time. He's like, you don't have to carry records. I was like, you should have learned how to rap. I don't know what to
I
tell
think
you.
one of the things though is it's like all that stuff's great to like reminisce around. It's you don't want to ever forget where you come from and all the stuff you went through. It's like I always have a weird relationship with nostalgia. around like that time period and where we are now. It's like I want to pay a certain amount of respect to it, but I don't want to like kind of get too in my feelings about.
You just want to keep looking forward.
Yeah, because like, you know, some of the stuff we're talking about, it's like it's hard sometimes to recognize that, like, in certain ways I think the world has changed in ways we can't. It's like you can't go back, right? Like,
No.
It's true.
And it's like I wonder sometimes if there's, because, you know, none of us want to be like the angry old man, you know, that's like, things used to be better, and
Chasing the kids off the
No,
lawn.
see, I never want to say better. I just want to say different. I don't know if they're better, you know, because we just sound like the motherfuckers before us who said that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
I feel it like it's like a micro rage, like especially like on the internet when someone says something, you're like, oh man, like I know what you're saying, and it bothers me because I know that you just don't know what you're talking about, and I'm like, but I have to fight that urge because I've been on the planet for 40 years and this guy hasn't, you know, like he's learning, they're learning, they got a lot to learn, you know, and
but you gotta let them,
you know,
you gotta let them
yeah,
fuck
and
up.
if I want to be a part
of
of what's going on, like I want to continue to be a student, you know, and learn. And
the only thing I tend to do is I do tend to talk about some of the upbringing of things because I do feel sometimes the history of such makes it. You know, like I said, it wasn't better. It was just different. But also at the same time, like I bring up the simple fact.
Literally right as you said that.
There's like even even the sense of the fact I bring up a lot, like, you know, what we had to do in our generation to even make raves work, to even get to these festivals that people play now, like, you know,
what made it fun is the real question, I guess, too.
Well, no,
right?
because I love festivals. Don't get it wrong. I love a 200 person venue more because it's personal. Not more. They're just different. They're two different things. You know what I'm saying? I love the spectacle of a festival. Like, it's the fact that when we were doing 200 rooms, 100 room, 50 people, we always thought about, yo, wouldn't this be fucking crazy on a stage with 10,000 people? And then we saw it. You can't be mad about it after that. You know what I mean? We're like, this is the thing. You know what I mean? I still love doing those small shows because they're personal and there's a different vibe. And personal, and you play differently to those crowds. But I love the spectacle too. I just want to, I want to make sure I stay kind of in both worlds. It's like, remember that we were in warehouses until the FBI showed up and kicked us out. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was a time we grinded that out for you. I love Disco Donnie for as much shit as he gets from everybody else. Motherfuckers don't know what he went through. You know what I mean? Like, he went through a lot for everyone. You know what I mean? So
that's the one thing I miss. I don't know. I don't miss it. I'm glad, like you said with Donnie. It's like, I like the you know, I mean, it's like, imagine watching Goodfellas without all those characters, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I feel like with business, the more money that starts circulating into a system, and the bigger the shows get and all that, it's like the less personality is allowed in the equation, you know, because there's like, even with like fucking Tesla, it's like, I feel like stockholders like, get this fucking guy out of here, Elon Musk. He's fucking up the stonks. You know what I'm saying? With this fucking Twitter account. Shut up. But it's like, for me, it's like with the rave scene, it's like Disco Donnie. I mean, keep talking, Donnie. It's great. Like, I think it's funny that he's I
think it's great too.
And I also think that he hasn't changed one bit.
No, and that's what makes it cool. So for everyone that gives him shit, I'm like, this has been him from jump. He's always been this way, and like, he puts in the work. So it is what it is. Like,
he still wears that. He had like a KFC like jumper on, like a full like. Yeah. I was just like, I love you, dude.
You see him coming a mile away. It's fucking awesome. I loved him from the day I met him. The day I met him, I was actually in a car accident.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, shit.
I was in Baltimore. Long story, less long. Got into a car accident. Went to the hospital that night. Got 3 stitches here, 3 stitches here. And
Woo!
like I said earlier, the show must go on. So I have a herniated disc in my lower back. Never be the same. They had to solve the roof opener of the car to get me out. It was a whole lot. It was a whole. I'm staying in a bubble at this point. Y'all know where I'm at.
You should do some inversion, dude. Do you do like inversion therapy or anything like that?
Yeah. But we're not gonna get on it. So anyway,
I'm just saying.
I literally left the hospital.
Protect Armani Rain.
Went to the clothing store. They trying to take me out. I'm on my 9th life. Anyway, I went to the clothing store, bought some clothes, hopped on a plane, went to New Orleans, got in a car, and Odie was like, what the fuck happened to you? And I was like, I was in a car accident last night. He was like, yeah, I could tell. And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think anything of it. And I was like, whatever. He's like, go to your room, get a shower, and then we're going to go to the strip club and get some drinks. And I was like, cool. And I checked in. I went to my room. There's still blood in my eyes, glass in my hair. This is pre 9/11. I was like, I can't believe y'all let me on a plane like this. Like, what are you doing? Like, I couldn't believe it. So I literally drank an entire bottle of Jaeger and went and did the show with Odie. I believe Hive didn't show up. No slight to Hive. Y'all know I love Mike. And then I went and talked to Donnie, and he was like, what the fuck happened to you? And I was like, I was in a car accident. And he was like, and you showed up? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I got DJs who break a nail and won't throw up. You're good with me forever. And we've been friends ever since. And I was just like, so I defend that dude. He's always been cool with me, man. Like, he's very straightforward. Shout out to Donnie Disco, man. Love from all of us.
Yeah.
So Jake, I want to quickly, I missed a lot. This is a big period of time that I missed in the industry because I stepped away in 2007. And I was like, fuck that. I'm not going back. And I didn't go back for like 7 years. And when I came back, when I talked to you briefly a couple times when I was living out in Vegas, but like basically when I came back to everything, you were you and you had done what you'd done. How did you basically metamorphosize from EWUN into Kill the Noise? There had to be a process there. I know it involved relocation. Yeah. So tell that story to us, because I think there might be a lot of people that don't know the story.
Yeah, and actually that was like this cool craziness here, because like right around that time, once again, there was like a big shift in the U.S. with just the rave scene, you know what I'm saying, in general. And like, man, with the drum and bass thing, for me, at least for me, where I was at in the whole situation, is that most of the stuff that I was making was in the drum and bass world was connecting more overseas, like especially like Eastern Europe, like not even in the UK. It was like, so in order for me to play the kind of shows that was meant for me, I'd have to like go all the way over there, and it didn't make any. I was trying to remember like Robin Chaos and Dillon and
right, yeah. And they had a very distinct aesthetic as well. Like it was a whole
Therapy,
thing.
The whole
cruise, Therapy, like that was pretty much like the key. Like they were like the gatekeepers, not in a bad way, but like going through them, I was able to play some shows over there. But it just wasn't sustainable on a creative level too. It was like I was making tunes for a world that didn't exist.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as much as we were trying to make it happen, and shout out to all the promoters that in some cases are still pushing that space. For me, it wasn't, there was so, like, it wasn't just as simple as I was like, oh, I want to play some shows. I can't play any shows. Like, I went through so much, like, kind of BS around
politics, I'll say it.
Yeah, it was like it just kind of sucked all the happiness out of it for me. Like,
right.
And it kind of felt like I was like having to play all kinds of games, always trying to find new agents, always. So I was just like, what else can, and also here's the other thing too.
Oh, that's a story.
I'm sure a lot of people feel this way.
I'm going to elaborate for sure.
where you like start off with a certain impetus to create, where you're like, I want to be, you know, whatever it is that first catches your interest as an artist. You're like, I want to do that. And then along the way somewhere, you're doing stuff, you're making stuff, you're hanging out with people, you're creating things with other people, you're doing all this stuff. And somehow something that you do sticks, and all of a sudden you're that now. Like, I like all kinds of music. All of a sudden, I was like drum and bass guy that was making a very, and you guys know how it is in D&B. There's like a niche of a niche of a niche, and then there's a crew that you're hanging with. So all of a sudden, it's like the lane that you're in is this like piece of spaghetti that you're like.
Right, but everyone who knew you regionally knew that you were into breaks. You were into like a bunch of shit. So yeah, right.
Yeah. It was reflected in, like, talk about flex, right? Like,
right.
My style reflected the environment we came up in, which was very musically dynamic. Yeah.
Right.
But I became D&B guy in a space where it just didn't feel like it was flourishing. But before I go on from there, was there something y'all want to elaborate on around that?
Sure, I can. I mean, I can, and you can cut me off if I'm wrong at any point in this. And I've died on this hill before, so I have no problem returning to it. And I'm glad Craze once again is in the chat because we had these conversations regularly. Craze and I traveled the country, so everyone who tried to say there wasn't politics involved is a fucking liar. And like we saw that shit firsthand. Like we were cool with everyone. That's not a slight to anyone. I even tell people that there was a lot of gatekeeping in there to protect the sound, and there needs to be that. The same, they do it in hip hop too. They do it in rock and roll. It's just the way things go, and you have to find a way to navigate that or don't. The issue is a lot of drum and bass producers, and if you look at some of the top dubstep producers who built this thing, American dubstep and trap and all that from the ground up, are all some of the sickest American drum and bass producers on the fucking planet. It just is what it is. It's a fucking fact. You know what I mean? Feed Me, You, 12th Planet. I go down the list. Craze is still flipping all kinds of genres. They're all sick producers and all pushers of the drum and bass sound who got tired of it one day and said, fine, we'll just go make this because I'm dope at making music. We all came from different backgrounds. I'm originally a battle hip hop MC head who got into drum and bass. Like, I'm never going to not stop making hip hop. So when you take these people who are eclectic in their sound with all of this ginormous skill set, and then you found something that you love to do and that people resonated with, and you can't fault anyone for that. It's not I love this generation right now because they are like, fuck. We've been screaming for the longest time. I cannot wait until we start to blur the lines, and we are here now.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Prism's in the chat right now. That dude's musical range is insane. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just making what they want to make. Black Jesus, I shout his name on a regular basis. He will make a rock album one day and a sick ass dubstep song the next way. Next thing you know, he's making hard dance. They don't give a shit. They just want to make good music, and that's where we fought to get to. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that's my rant.
I think also like if there was a shift along those lines around that time you're talking about, Valiant, like 2007.
Well, it's when dubstep really started to like really transform the sort of.
I was gonna say like that it was when that Justice Cross record came out in like 2007.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like there's this crazy collision of like, again, all shit that I fucked with on like a creative level, like electronic music, like, you know, disco, hip hop. I mean, like Chromeo, Boys Noise, Kid Sister, like Fool's Gold Records. All this shit started like happening, like, and it felt like it felt good in the sense that they didn't feel like there was any rules again, you know. Whereas drum and bass to me felt like a very rigid space where I was like, damn, like this is, like, I mean,
if you don't mind me saying, to me, like, it seems like Kill the Noise is really you, whereas like EWUN was just like one little piece of you. And so like what I'm wondering is, did Kill the Noise and the whole Kill the Noise aesthetic and all that stuff, did that come about rather quickly?
Yeah, like right there in that point that I was talking about, I was like, just for fun, I'm gonna start fucking around with some other shit. And like Craze said just now, that's what I was getting to with Craze being in here, because I was sending shit to
Craze,
him,
just
like,
answer my Zoom invite.
I was saying to him, yeah, that'd be dope actually. You should, hell yeah, bring him in there. He's got time. Like because his perspective has always been. I should have mentioned him as well back with. I wasn't talking to Craze directly in this period of time in my career when early on, but man, he was
his
like,
influence was so big then.
He was the guy. Like I was like, he's doing
no wrong for like a
I was like, why?
Years,
I was like,
man.
I was like, how is it? Like I was listening to records. Remember like Jungle Brothers and like I was listening to people that were playing around with this like space where hip hop and drum and bass
Right.
live together in the US. And
Right.
like, and I was like, man, this makes total sense to me. And then it was like, just as I was like thinking about all of this stuff, I was like Craze was doing, like he had already like actualized it and was like, so all this stuff that everyone knows can happen, like here's how you do it, you know? But also remarkably in the hip hop space, right? Like using drum and bass records in a DMC routine and all that kind of shit. And it was like, man, that like inspired a lot of producers, I think, like people that were thinking about writing music with those sensibilities, you know, and like blurring the lines even further with what you could and couldn't do, which again, it's crazy how drum and bass started that way. And over time it became very niche and like there was very specific lanes that people were in with like neurofunk and tech step and liquid drum and bass and jump up, clown step. They used to call. I mean, it was like they got kind of nasty. And people were like, you know, going after each other and talking shit. And I was like,
clown step. I remember that. So when you,
anyway, it was great. Like that was a golden era in my mind in like 2007, where there was like this really, like there was no rules and there was so much creatively that it
there
was
he
like,
is.
oh shit, yeah. And so anyway, that's why I started Killing Noise, because it felt like a good space it felt like a good idea to create a space where there were no rules, you know?
Right.
DJ situation and all that. And then Craze has way more insight than I do, I'm sure.
Hey,
but
somebody knocked on the door, man. Who we got in
Yeah,
here?
Craze, you got something to say about this this transformation of his?
Yeah, how did you see
what up, man? Shit, where am I right now? Hold on, I can't even see. Oh, there we go.
Very high.
Y'all. What up, y'all?
Hi.
Yeah, I just came from dinner. I had like fucking 4 caipirinhas. I'm lit.
Word. Right
on TV.
So what were we talking about?
We're talking about how Jake sort of transitioned from the drum and bass EWUN into Kill the Noise, the creature that is known as Kill the Noise.
But I don't need to talk about me, but I'm just saying that time period, like 2007.
That time period was exciting. Like there was so many new sounds coming out, and a lot of that shit was from drum and bass dudes like Treasure Fingers, like Kill the Noise, like Feed Me, fucking Pendulum too. Like they were switching up. Well, not around that time.
They waited.
But yeah, it was an exciting time because even with Treasure Fingers, like he would send me all his like fucking disco shit, and I was hitting up fucking A-Track like
A-Track, yeah.
I would hit up A-Track like, this is my dude. You need to pay attention to this guy. And he would be like, what the fuck is that? And he was just like, boom, like, and then fucking Jake sending me all that shit. I was like, yo. And it wasn't even like it was just you know, an adaptation of drum and bass to something new. It was like a completely new motherfucker. I was like, what is this, Jake? This sounds like some old school Miami futuristic Coke music.
Kano.
And
Kano.
Yeah, it was just dope. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, that was an exciting time for all genres that came after that.
Yeah, all the producers made a hard left from the stuff they were making before. And I always said this with Craze too, and this is why Craze is in here for ladies and gentlemen who don't know. That I don't know why you don't know. We had a whole episode on him, so you should know. But,
go back and watch the archives.
Even I spoke then, and this goes both ways, because Craze and I not only would play drum and bass parties and force hip hop down their throats, we'd also force drum and bass down hip hop people's throats when we'd play those parties. So it's not like Craze was always the top of the line. I'm gonna play what the fuck I want to play when I want to play it, and like that was the catalyst for a lot of Americans. Like
my favorite thing about like being around Craze in the DJ situation was he'd be like, I'm gonna play whatever the fuck I want. And like, I'm not going to play what you if someone asked me to play something, I'm not going to play it. But then it's like, as the night went on, and there's like more and more drinking going on.
Yeah.
Like all the things that people wanted him to play, so he would just play at the
came
end.
out,
so
right.
Like, you guys stick around this long, it's like 30 minutes of drum and bass, you know?
Yeah, we'd play a hip hop party. He was like, I'm not playing drum and bass tonight. And I go, all right. It's like, We'll see. You know, it was like,
word.
But I like that. That I mean, to me, that has always been like when people talk about DJing, like obviously there's like a technical element, but to me it was like breaking records and breaking new artists and like
amen.
and playing in the dangerous end of the pool, like and finding interesting ways to like combine that with some of the zeitgeist of shit that was popping at the moment, you know? Like so to me always it was like Craze was the best because he did all that. And
Wait,
then,
what was that whole era? Can we just consider that whole time spot the I don't give a fuck era then? 'Cause that's what it sounds like.
1000%.
No, I'll say that I think that it was always like that. Like you would go out to hear new music, you would go out to hear people do themselves, and like it was cool to hear dubs, it was cool to hear new music in hip hop clubs. It was cool to like, you know, it wasn't so popular that everybody that wanted to go out to these things, like they just wanted to hear something to sing along to, or like, you know, it was just it wasn't like we were trying to be cool. That's all we knew. We just wanted to play cool new shit that we like, and if nobody liked it,
and introduce them, and introduce them. We were trying to be like, yo, hip hop heads, pay attention. There's some shit in here you want to listen to. Like that was like
right. And what was so cool about that shit is that we didn't give a fuck about our brand, our money, or anything. We were just being kids. We were just like, this is what I want to play. I'm gonna force that shit down your throat, motherfucker. You're gonna like this shit. And like most of the time,
I have a question for you, Craze.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever really asked you this question before, but because you made a couple comments here and there about dubstep. How come you never really got into dubstep? Like, I always feel like
dubstep or rhythm. I love dubstep. Like I was
more like American, like heavier.
Well, just because like
dubstep shit.
But I mean, it should be obvious. It's the same reason why I didn't like a lot of the U.S. drum and bass stuff, because it was full of testosterone. It was just angry, like fucking. You know, it was like angry music.
Look at me, Charlie.
And when I think of angry music or heavy metal or anything American like that, I just think, you know, middle America, little white boys going crazy and shit, and I'm just like, that wasn't my vibe.
And to be fair, let me also put some some different insight into this, because I was touring when dubstep was getting big. I was touring with you at the time, and I remember us walking in the rooms going, "What the fuck is going on in here?" And then, but around that same time, Craze was switching over to push Miami bass like really, really heavy, and was super focused on that. And then the next thing
it was the club era, yeah.
And then next thing you know, he was on tour with Kanye and said, "Fuck all y'all." And then he was on tour with Kanye.
Yo. But at the same time, remember that me and you would go to some random gigs, and Juju was first getting into dubstep.
Yep.
And I was just like, what the fuck is Juju on right now?
Dude,
like,
Juju
I didn't
was
just
killing
like it, but I thought, this is slow as shit.
It's
but
heady. It was so heady.
The raga vibes, I'm feeling the bass lines, but this is slow as fuck. But
do you remember? And Zinc, Juju was the first person to show it to us, and Zinc was like the next person randomly in France. After a party, and Zinc was like, "Yo, come to this house real quick." We were like, "Why are you at a house party in France?" And we walked in, and it was ram packed with nothing but dubstep playing. We were like, "What the fuck is going on? This shit is
yeah, man.
I don't know what this is, but yeah, like,
those moments are exciting. You feel me?
Yeah.
Being safe and playing the game, that shit is not exciting. And once you're, go ahead.
No, sorry, dude. I mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's like, and that's what, you know, that's what keeps us going. I know that's what keeps you going, Jake. I know that's what keeps you going, Monty. Like that, finding something new and hearing something new and being inspired and all that shit. Mm-hmm. That's what keeps it. That's what keeps it fresh. That's what keeps it going.
That's why I work with a lot of new artists, dude. Because I'm just like, yo, like.
That's why I love discovering new artists too.
Yeah.
Like most of my day is spent trying to find something that's new and exciting. That's it. That's all I do with my.
If I was with you, I know I was with D, and I forget who else was there in LA. We went to go see Stormzy. Were you there? I think you were.
No, I wasn't there.
Oh,
that's when Nas showed up.
Yeah,
I know the story.
Man, that was like on the level of what you're talking about. Where I was like, And also, I was like, damn, how the fuck does everybody know about this except for me? Like, that was like,
You'd be like, if all people, I should know about this.
That's the vibe. That's the vibe.
I was like,
Speaking
damn,
of
Nas knows about this too. Like,
speaking of taking
I feel like-
risk, though, and we brought this up when Nick was on the show, and
There's a
we're
lot of
trying
risky
to.
people in this room right
There's
now.
a lot of risky people in this room for sure, but I feel like one of the most riskiest projects that people still ask you about. You know where I'm going with this is the Ludacris project.
Oh, that was
oh
fire.
yeah, yeah. I
Like,
mean, I don't know. It was just
that
like,
was taking
again,
mashup and flipping it on its head. Like, whoa,
an
like,
opportunity to just like break, like have no rules, right?
right?
And actually, like, yeah, it's like that. I feel like that kind of mentality. If anything, with the Ludacris thing, it's like more on the surface where it's like, let's just go off and just connect ideas that shouldn't be connected, kind of thing, or whatever. But yeah, like I feel like that is a.
I want everyone to know he left on his own. I did not kick him out.
Yeah.
No. I'm still here. I'm still here.
Okay, cool.
He's peeing right now.
I'm
Guarantee it.
peeing. I'm peeing.
See, I was right.
I just wanted to be perfectly clear.
Along
I
with
didn't-
Exclusive Roti and Poutine.
Go ahead.
happening.
I'm sorry.
I
Go
feel
ahead.
like I watched Craze did a really good. Damn, what the hell is the name of the stream that you did, Craze?
For me?
The audio video experience. What the hell is it called? You had two of them.
The mixtape.
Oh, disconnect to reconnect.
yeah.
Disconnect to reconnect. Like,
Yeah.
So that vibe, like what he's doing now with
Mhm.
like chopping. So he's like, I mean, I was already working off of that kind of, like, me and Nick were working off that kind of aesthetic of like how like a mixtape DJ would put together an album, you know, like Green Lantern or something back in the day,
Right.
and just chopping shit together and getting creative with it, and then also kind of thinking about it like an album that would be like the level of production you put into a song, like over the course of an entire album, like one long song basically, you know. But man, I feel like the shit that you're doing, Craze, like, is crazy because you're like taking it to that next level with video too. Like,
I fucking learned Final Cut.
yeah. I mean,
It's an
that's
amazing
like
program,
that's
for
like the natural progression. I like
Yeah,
you
and that
earlier
shit
in
was
the
fun.
chat
But
about,
like now I look back on it and I was just like, damn, it took me 3 months to do that shit. Fuck,
It was
I'm
worth
not.
it.
I'm not trying to put another 3 months.
but I
Like,
feel like
another
you're-
pandemic has to hit.
Whoa. Easy.
you're saying some shit.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
That too, I think that type of shit, that is what also keeps you, like, instead of being like in the nostalgia zone, trying to stay young, like that keeps you young, is like discovering new frontiers and diving into like Final Cut. Like, I found myself in Final Cut world during the
Yo, we all did.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, I don't know how I ended up here, but I'm here and I'm having fun. Like
Yep.
the same way that the hours fly by on the clock, you know, fucking around with DJing and production, similar type of thing with Final Cut. So that type of
It's
vibe,
wild how similar they are, isn't it?
it is, man. Yeah. I mean, if anything, like going back to the original question about the transformation between projects, it's like, I think the thing that I've always looked for is like being lost in the sauce in that way, where you're like, you're around a bunch of people geeking out about something that's someone else walking by would be like, what the fuck are these nerds doing over here? It's just fucking pointless. You know what I mean? They're trying to figure out how to, like, zoom out and imagine scratching from like the cosmic perspective. It's such a bizarre thing to spend that much time doing, right? Especially with a group. It's like, what? So there's a fucking group of people around this shit. What the fuck? Like,
Yo,
that's what I
and to
think
add
about.
and to add to what you're saying too, like, it's that competitive element. Like, when you see something fly, you want to do that shit and you want to do it better.
Yep.
Like,
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
one
yeah,
thing
yeah.
I know about Jake. Like, with every fucking genre, he does it and it's this much better. And it's just like, oh fuck. And
Well,
it's
just
like you're always
fascinating,
trying to
right?
outdo everybody else.
Do you
You
know?
start sliding down that slope where you're like, all right, so how do you do that? And then you're like, okay, so now I know how to do that. How do you do that? And then wait a minute, now you can connect that with that, and then it's like you're digging deeper and deeper and deeper.
Some b-boy shit, because like I started learning Final Cut just because I saw like people starting to get busy with OBS, and I was just like, fuck these motherfuckers, bro. I'm about to do some shit. Like, no.
You want to talk
This is how
about
you
how
gotta do it.
We want to talk about how this competitiveness breeds creativity. Do you want to know what Crazy and I's most inspirational moments came from? Him constantly telling me I can't rap better than somebody else. We used to sit down drunk as shit, and I'd be like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if Eminem challenged me to a battle, my rapping would get better.
Crazy
I'm
loves
not
Eminem.
saying I can't beat him now. I'm just saying
know
that
I
if
love
I
Em,
had
though.
to
I'd be
battle
like,
him,
"Oh, no,
you'd hear the
Marty,
best
no."
me possible. That's all I'm. Anybody can lose. He'd be like, you can't do that, and I go home and write the sickest shit ever. And, but I go
Yeah.
home and write a dope ass rhyme. So it was like,
Yeah.
cool. You know what I mean? You got to get ready to be ready. You know what I mean?
That's that shit.
So
That's that
basically,
shit.
and if you want smoke,
that's that.
no, I'm just
That's
kidding.
that's that young feeling though. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like that's that I'm unstoppable. No, this motherfucker just denied me. Fuck that shit. And then you start writing some crazy shit.
Yeah, that's how we started,
Yes.
right? I got into drum and bass because Henry said I couldn't do it. And I was like, all right, well, fuck that. Like,
You can't do bass on my
he ain't gonna
record.
be ready. I'm like, all right, cool.
That is a quality that's interesting around a lot of people I look up to, like just the worst. I mean, they're like looking for people to say no to them. They're like
Yeah.
looking around for that energy around somebody saying, this is like, we're over here and you're over there. And it's like, oh, motherfucker, now it's on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel that way.
Make my own
Sure.
damn cool table. You know what I mean? That's the way it's gotta go.
Yo, and that's that cool shit about going to a club where you don't know shit at. That's one of my favorite things to do. Just go to some random club. Like, what's that club in Germany? Bergheim, whatever the fuck, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I remember the native people, native instruments people. I was just chilling with them and wherever the fuck, Berlin or some shit. And they were like, "Yo, we're all gonna go to this club, but it's not your vibe." And I was just like, "What club is that?" And they were just like, they named it, and I was like, "I know that club. That's like where all the techno heads are at, right?" And they were just like, "Yeah." And it's like, I went with them, got in, and that shit was fun. That shit was
Good times,
insane weird.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching motherfuckers do the craziest dances. People were pilled out of their minds.
Germany,
It was
Austria,
allegedly.
techno.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It was fire. I love being in those situations where you're like the odd one out and you're just like experiencing this weird shit. You know what I mean? Like that's how I got into drum and bass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like just being like, whoa, what the fuck is going on?
That always happens every time I go over to the UK.
Except live in Miami. Then I'm just like, oh fuck, I need to get out of here.
I went last time I was over there before the fucking pandemic. I went and saw Scream at XOYO. Like a residency there. It was like him and that guy Eats Everything. And it's cool. Like you said, it's like all of a sudden you're like thrown into an environment that in no way resembles what you're used to, you know? And there's all kinds of, it's like, well, everyone's doing this now, and they turn all the lights on for some reason. Like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like,
right.
Like there's all this shit happening, and for some reason it like puts you in that mindset of, you just don't have tunnel vision anymore. With like, all of a sudden the world just seems a lot bigger, and the opportunities seem more abundant than when you're just in your fucking first person perspective of your career and the opportunities available to you to play your music and make money and all that kind of shit. It's like it can start looking like this, and getting the opportunity to go watch what other people do in their space. You're like, damn, there's a lot of room out there for people to be creative.
You took that approach and you became a different artist altogether. So the little, I know it sounds superficial, but a lot of times your external appearance and like the image that you put forth is just an extension of the kind of mentality behind the music you're making. So like, remember I first saw Kill the Noise because it had the bandana. I was like, oh, Jake's got a fucking whole thing going on. So was there a thought behind? I know, right? Was there a whole like thought process behind that, or was there like a kind of, was that sort of like a way to liberate yourself from like your previous persona? Or
I think originally, it's funny. Originally, I was like, all right, I'm like, especially drum and bass during that period of time, was very much like, oh, so now you're gonna go and do this, like, make drum and bass.
Yeah.
You fucking
or else.
So I was like, all right, I got a solution. I'm just gonna be somebody else. Like, dude,
Different dude.
and I remember, but dude, craze. Like, you think this is funny? I remember I showed up with the bandana, and Denise was like, "Are you gonna wear that while you DJ?" I was like, "Nah."
I can just hear Denise's. I can hear her tone while she gives you a straight face look. Like, are you really gonna do that?
He was like, she,
All
like
right.
she thought it was funny. She thought it was like being funny, you know. And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna wear that." And I took it off. I never wore it while I DJ'd. Up until more recently.
It's not.
But
No, we're not
I did
scared of
think
her
it was
anymore.
cool. I did think it was cool in the sense that like no one was selling like merch like that, you know. So like on top of the bandana stuff, like I had like, you know, the Kill the Noise skull thing.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, man, unfortunately, we've all learned this lesson. It's like when you're fucking around, for some reason there's some kind of like magic energy for people around that. Like you said, the Ludacris thing. We're just fucking around having fun. Kill the Noise, fucking around having fun.
Right.
And as much as I, you know, beat my fucking head against the wall doing the EWUN thing, I think it was because I was trying so hard and I was spending so much tedious time overthinking everything I was doing and also like trying to earn certain people's respect that didn't give a fuck about what I was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
I think that it led me down this path where I was like unhappy, making uninspired music. And the Kill the Noise thing in the early days was just me, like, it was like the antithesis of that energy in my mind.
Right.
At that point. I was like,
down to the name.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like
Right.
trying to listen
When,
to my
when
own
did you
voice,
relocate?
right? I moved to LA in 2008 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of expected to get chewed up and spit out of here, especially being a New York guy. Like I had all the, you know, preconceptions that most people from the East Coast have of LA, right? Bunch of fake
It'll never
fuckers out
change.
there, blah, 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 blah. I was like, nah, you know, I may have some friends out there that I've known for a long time, like Danny J and
Hey,
you know, John.
shout out.
But I didn't know. I was just like, I like it out there. My friends are out there. There's big parties out there.
I think the time that you moved out there was the right time, though, especially because of that. Because
sure.
like Dolla was doing it, you were doing it, Skrillex was doing it,
Yeah.
everybody in your circle was doing it. Like that was a fucking crazy time.
Speaking of which,
What?
Segue.
no, not.
It sounds like a hot take.
No,
for you,
no.
so
No, I understand. You're right. I do normally do that when I'm about to say a hot take. But let me say, and I can probably speak for everyone in this room, in this chat, how good it felt to see you standing on that stage accepting that award with Skrillex.
Oh yeah. I
We
mean,
danced around that room. I was
That
like,
was wild.
that was
we were like, we made it.
yes.
I know him.
okay.
I was like the dude from Elf. I know him.
Yes. Yeah.
World's best coffee.
I mean, everyone has to admit, like, I mean, it was an infectious event, right? Like, because pretty much anybody that was out there doing stuff ran into that guy, and he embodied from a couple different perspectives. Like,
Can you give me a shot, please?
Damn it.
Oh, sorry, you heard that?
I mean, I guess it was a unique perspective probably for Americans in doing the dance thing. Like, he represented at least a certain group of people that were, like, you know, working on stuff and trying to be recognized on that level. For what it's worth, I don't know that it's worth much. It's worth something. But along the lines of what you're saying, it did feel like someone from your school won. You know, you're like, oh man, yeah, like I'm doing similar type of shit too.
Definitely.
I was, that whole thing was like surreal for sure. It was like, but it was one of those things. I mean, no, it's not something that I think about very often, you know, because at the end of the day, it's like, I feel like that when you like, actually, like, what is it? The Weeknd was just talking about it on, with his nominations, like lack thereof, with his album.
Right.
It's like all the awards and shit. It's like I mean, it's different. Like I think about like the DMCs and all that craze. Like it's like a world that was self-governed in some instances where like people that won were involved in picking winners and right, or at least
like, yeah.
At least there was some kind of like.
Chris is like, yes, I dominated all that. Yes.
I know where you're going with it. Yeah, it was your peers. It was your peers.
It was the peers. It was your peers. No, but
the system of creating music with teams that are these big things, like to me, I think there's some like that's one of the questions of our time right now. We're all starting to realize is it's like, yeah, when you have a ton of resources and you have, I think that's maybe one of the reasons why we were celebrating the Skrillex thing at the time is that we knew that Sonny wrote a lot of those records on his laptop with a couple of his homies, you know, ultimately.
Right.
But it was, I think if anything, that gave a lot of credibility to a system that's not how it actually really functions, right? The music industry at large is like this big machine that grinds up.
I thought of it the opposite. I actually felt like finally someone infiltrated the corrupt system.
That's what I mean though. But I feel like that like in that system, it's like we need to periodically show, you know, if it's David and Goliath, we gotta let David get a couple rocks in the eye,
every
right?
now and then, right?
Show that it's possible. But at the end of the day, like, you know, at the end of the day, Spotify now is like owns everybody's ass, right? Like the equity goes to the infrastructure, you know, and these award systems and the major labels and the streaming services, they're all part of the same machine that eats artists for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? They're like a content creator for their enterprise, and that's it. And to me, you know, it's kind of a sad situation when you get inside the Death Star, like you're saying, you know, and you're like, yeah, but there's not really that much celebration that should be had because this isn't for an artist like me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Surely.
my life exists outside of this structure. For, you know, aside from this one really like chance, totally random situation that's happened here, you know, with Skrillex, which I think all of us in some way were like, this is cool, but a fleeting moment, you know?
Indeed.
And that conversation goes deeper and deeper because I think that's a question that we all have to ask ourselves when it comes to like success, right? You're like, what kind of success am I looking for? Like,
Right.
That's the big picture.
Huge key.
Picture,
The big
right?
picture.
I always think about it with like setting limits, like you gotta get a blackjack table or whatever. It's like, all right, I'm gonna set a limit on how much I'm gonna lose, but also I think you have to set limits sometimes about how much you're gonna win, because
Right.
I've seen, and we've all seen, people become consumed by winning, right? And like,
Amen.
you need to, like, you're not worth anything, and your music isn't worth anything, your career isn't worth anything unless you're like on the top, you're number one, you know? Like, it can't always be that way. Like, crazy. I remember a long time ago you said something that it always like makes me smile. It's just, and it's such a simple crazyism. You're like, sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not.
You a lot of crazyisms out there.
It's so simple, right? Like, I mean, you can't be hot all the time. I mean, maybe you'll disagree with me on that one, but I feel like it's like what you do with your time when you're not in the front of everybody's mind, right? Like, are you practicing and doing some research and development on your skills and, you know, finding new music, all the shit we've been talking about.
When you can't throw a cake on an audience, I mean, what are you doing?
New artists,
Knock it off.
And I think what you're talking about too is like once you plateau and you're just like winning, there's only one way to go, right?
Right.
So like,
and
thank you, mama.
And
This was a shot for the Grammy thing.
Shut
Oh,
up.
straight.
Craze will find an
Emojis in the
excuse.
chat for Craze right now. Please get that man some emojis in.
And also, like, if anything we've learned, it's funny because a lot of artists, we say this all the time, like, man, for different reasons, but now we've learned that it's literally can happen to anyone. It can all go in an instant, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
So what I was gonna say about the whole winning thing shit is like, you know, winning. That shit is just here, right? Like, and then there's only one way to go. So like, I think the point of all our careers is to win and then chill.
Right.
And then we'll win again and then chill.
like
and then
Netflix
start winning
chill,
again,
win and chill.
and then chill.
Win and
And
chill.
whatever you do in that chill time, whether
Hashtag
it's
win
like,
and chill. Hold up. Go ahead.
and whether it's
Maybe the
reinventing
next
yourself
Roti and
when you're
Poutine
chilling. What was that?
Let's give you the next Roti and Poutine t-shirt. Win and chill.
Win and chill. New
So
way.
like whatever you're doing when you're chilling, if it's reinventing or just chilling, that chill is needed. Like you
Facts.
can't be winning the whole fucking time. Unless it's boxing or like DJ competitions.
Shit, boxers take months off before they get in the ring.
I know, right?
He
Twice a
really
year,
just
maybe.
used.
Hey,
He just threw boxing in there, so he didn't just say DJ competitions.
You feel me? Cheers.
But that's what I mean.
But
Like,
you get what I'm saying though, right? Like
yes.
Craze is like, when I became sick of dominating the genre for as long as I did, I realized that I just had to chill.
Craze had his episode. We're talking to Jake.
You gotta go here. You gotta go here.
Well, I was just gonna
Your
say,
life
like,
should be like this. Your life can't be this.
Right. Well, the way always have a more eloquent way of saying the same shit. I was saying, I mean, imagine this. Imagine someone walking up on stage and they're like, you walk up on stage with someone, it's like, here you go, here's 6 Grammys. It's like, who the fuck are the rest of these assholes up here? You're sitting yourself there thinking to yourself, you're like, damn, am I ever gonna win 6 fucking Grammys? Doing the shit that I do? No fucking way. You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird situation being invited into that situation, even though that I did play a small part in his record that got not like, you know, I've worked on, I think I only worked on one song. It was on Bangerang. I only worked on one song on there, you know?
That's a big song.
Which under normal circumstances wouldn't have gotten that type of like attention, you know? So I think it's just, there's a weird bittersweet mental moment when you're around people
Like that.
and it was a great lesson, right? Because you're always going to be around people achieving certain levels of success, you know, and you're always going to look back. It becomes like whether you like it or not, you're referencing, that's just what we do, right? There's a difference between fixating it, but the fact is that sometimes people get ahead, man. And sometimes people really write something dope, nail something out of the park, whether it's an accident or it's been a grind for their whole life or whatever it is. So yeah, it was that was a very strange.
Look, I'm
moment,
just happy that you walked in there, put your shoes on the couch, and walked out. That's all. You know what I'm saying? That's the rule. We are
a bit like you're like crossed over like some weird plane of existence, you know, like where you're like, holy shit.
Also,
and what felt special about that, it wasn't that y'all were just the homies. What felt special, it was dope new music. You feel me?
It was a dope tune. You didn't just get in there on some bullshit. Like,
it was like not expected, and it was just like, fuck, right? This is like that new shit, you know? And the homies made it.
Yeah. The cool thing about that with Sonny is that he was, they called him up there, right? And he went up there, and he was like, man, this is dope. He was quoting, I think he quoted Dieselboy. He was like very connected to the process of the shit that got him up there, right? He was shouting out people that he respected and all that. And then he was like, man, I'm here with actually a lot of the people that I worked with. Like, let's all be up in this moment right now. Because I think probably for him, it felt weird to be up there taking all that award for something that was part of like a scene, really, you know? That
I will say, man,
all that. So it was a cool moment. You're right. For a lot of reasons.
Absolutely. And I'll say this, and I'm sure the chat's probably tired of hearing this. Like, I defend that guy on a regular, not needing he needs defending, but you know how we get.
Oh yeah.
But my favorite moment with him ever was the night at fucking Movement with Goldie, and Goldie was in that mode we're talking about. Like, let me go see what this shit's about, right? You know, we're like, we just fucking crushed the set, like probably one of my top 5 Goldie sets of all time. And like Skrillex went on right after that, starts bodying the place, and 5 minutes into a set, stops the fucking record, pulls Goldie to the side, shows him how much he was an inspiration. Crowd goes fucking crazy. Like, he's very, very tapped in, like, to all of it. You know what I mean? And he's very appreciative of where he's at and yada yada yada. So
yeah, for sure,
I
definitely.
like the guy. Anyway, about you,
and like, I was gonna say one little thing, and like, there's always like this weird defending shit that we have to do with Skrill.
It's weird, right?
It's weird because like like it's weird to tell somebody like, first of all, his shit is dope. Second of all,
He's super
he's
innovative
an
at the
amazing
time.
human. Like,
It's
it's like, fuck you for even putting his name in some weird negatory way. Like, yes, you know,
It's the heavy crown
what
shit crazy.
what
You know
came
It is.
after
It's
him,
the heaviest the crown,
whatever
for
your
sure.
opinion is, but
Well,
it's
wait,
like
hit
he's
that
like
track.
untouchable for all the right reasons. It's
Yeah.
like,
But
I
it
mean,
was
some
weird.
people-
You
I
had
think you
to.
could relate to this though. Like sometimes, I hate people because they're great. I'm just like, fuck this person.
Yeah, that's
Like, everyone likes this
inspiration,
person
though.
except for me. You know what I'm saying?
Motherfucker.
yeah.
Oh, that's
That's just
crazy
a-
at every event almost, right? Doing something that nobody ever seen before, and motherfuckers go, "What the fuck is this shit right here?"
Yeah, I'm mad.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
mad
know.
at you.
Man, again, some of it, like I think sometimes, like what I was saying earlier, some of the qualities of like being like a contrarian, where you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, all
Mhm.
you guys think this is dope. Well, I think it's whack, and they're like, oh, really? So show us what's dope, and you're like, all right. But like, it's like I feel like that there's like sometimes there's those same wires are connected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With, like,
Double-edged. It's a double-edged sword being a contrarian
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely.
like there is something that powers the
First time I
Yeah,
hear
that
this
could-
word.
sometimes.
I just want the contrarian to make sure that he has something that's of equal measure, because if you're comparing
Nah,
it
sometimes
to
I
some
like to just
shitty
kick dirt.
shit, you know what I mean? You just
Yo,
destroyed
this is
your
the first time I
argument
hear
right
this
off top.
word. Contrarian?
Yeah, man. It's
Ooh.
like, you know, it's like,
Wait,
all
wait,
right,
wait, wait.
remember when
Let's
Nirvana
all-
was super big, and then
Let's
all
tell
these
the
people were
joke
like, fuck
together.
Nirvana.
Let's tell
It's
the
like
joke
that.
It's like when,
together.
it's
Craze,
like when-
you don't know what a contrarian is. Like of
Yeah,
all people.
Craze is the ultimate contrarian. Like,
Oh shit! Wait, it's like when people started hating on Eminem just because he was popular.
Right.
yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Contrarian.
Or for me,
yeah,
like when I watch a lot of soccer, I always root against teams like Chelsea and stuff like that because they're such big teams. And it's like, yo, or like baseball, fuck the Yankees. Not because I hate the Yankees, but because they're so
no.
big.
bro.
No, we all do it. I haven't. I've never watched. I've never watched
Because they're so
Lost.
big.
I've never watched Breaking Bad. I've never watched Game of Thrones.
Do
Specifically
you know how many
because
years it took me to watch
everyone-
Avatar? It took me like 5 years to watch that movie. Like I was like, I don't really want
But
to
I'm
watch it.
anti that. I'm not contrarian. I'm anti that. I like Eminem even when everybody started hating him. I
Okay,
still
that's a
love
good
his
point.
music.
That's a good point.
Calm down.
I
Please.
love
We
shit
just-
that's
it's a
dope.
fucking-
And
we're
when
just-
people like turn
just
on
making
it, I'm
content.
like, no, that shit's still dope. Even though I don't like Eminem's
Nah,
music.
yeah, you're right.
I was just talking shit
Oh,
for
maybe
content.
you're not. Yeah, you
Craze.
might not be a full contrarian, but I'm saying like there's like the vibe
Well, let's
where,
get
like,
these jokes off.
where everyone, I don't know, like where everyone's like on somebody's dick because they're dope, and you're
Mhm.
like, they're not that dope. Let's
You're-
break it
yeah,
down.
even though you're kind of like it's kind of dope.
I know what you're
I mean,
saying,
it's
Jake, and that's like most of rap music and most of EDM and
Facts.
most of everything.
Super
Yeah.
hip-hop
But-
thing.
But
I did it earlier in our
yeah,
group
that's-
chat.
so yeah, for that I'm a contrarian.
It's like devil's advocate. It's like an extreme devil's advocate. I would say a contrarian, where they're like,
I like
Every
that
time-
word.
Extreme
that?
devil's advocate. That can
I
kinda
like
go.
that word.
That's
I'm
a
gonna
bar
start
right
saying
there.
that shit all
Yeah,
the
that's
time.
hardcore right
That's a
there.
bar.
Hey Jake, let's try to steer this ship. You know,
Alright.
I kind of like when our ship's off the rail, but I don't know if the chat does. Who gives a shit?
Contrarian and
We're here now. Craze learned a new vocabulary word. I want to know a little more. You've made, first of all, your persona before the pandemic, before you started doing live streams, your Twitter rants are of legend. I promise you, there's a book somewhere that they're
I be
archiving
following.
these
Oh,
things.
I follow.
You don't
I
follow
hope
Jake.
not. I try
You
to
are
delete 'em all.
fucking up. If you don't
No,
follow-
they're good.
Bro,
They're
a
dope.
3 o'clock in the morning, random kill. Yo, there one time I woke up at like 7 a.m. and you had gone on a long rant at like what was 4 a.m. for me, and I was like, fam, like, what is happening?
Yo,
Anyway,
and even when we know
but they're
that he's drunk,
amazing.
it's still written well. It's
Eloquent as fuck. It's just like, yo,
on point. I'm like, I know
so
Jake is
good.
probably
They're
wasted.
practicing.
yeah.
Been
that
practicing
shit
drum
makes
beats
sense.
for fucking
Yeah.
10 years.
The words, they're never like, it's never drunken rant stuff. It's like proper
Always-
deep thinking, but like you can tell the drunker you get, the better you explain it. It's just
Oh,
like
Lord.
the greatest thing
That's
ever.
what's going
right?
on.
It's
fire.
fucking
No matter how
so
drunk
dope.
he still uses the Oxford comma.
It's like it's like
Yeah, I think
you read that
yeah,
shit
I
like
think-
I'm gonna read this whole fucking thread.
Man, it was always driven by shit we were talking about in the club
Right.
or wherever drinking. And if anything, I'm a contrarian for sure. Like I would always internalize stuff that was going on in the music world, whether it was like the actual music or, you know, politics surrounding it, or, you know, whatever it might be, conversations we were having with people about stuff. But man, I was like, yeah, that was definitely like when I was going in drinking.
No, I love it. But the reason why I bring that up, outside of the fact that I loved it and so does everyone else, and I'm sure you're aware of that. It's not just a drunken rant, because you make videos like Kill It for the Kids and things of the nature.
Oh, yeah.
This is who you are. And like those things come out in your music. You're not shy to put hot takes or your political opinions or how you feel about the world. You're actually,
Which is what an artist used to be. Sorry.
should be, right. Anyone, you know, because we fight
Bar.
that.
Yeah, you do the same thing. I mean, I feel like all of us have.
We do, and we get shit for it, but we're like, this is
Yeah.
what music was made for. This is the point.
We
right?
get shit for it, and we do it sometimes in a dumb way. I do that shit in a dumb way all the time. Like, you know, I look at my tweets and I'm like, oh fuck, you racist shit. But like,
no, not even the tweets, but the
A-Track,
music.
like, there's certain people that go on rants that they're just like bars. It's like bar.
To me, it's like this whole
Bar.
situation. I feel empowered by the group of people that I have as friends, right? Like, like I think about Craze. I think about the text group that we're in offline, like just on iChat with D and AC and stuff. Like,
Oh, it's fine.
like I'm like,
I'm just gonna kill you.
what I'm saying, like we're talking.
Illuminati, son.
Yeah, it's
like what I'm talking about on Twitter isn't any different from the shit that I'm talking about in my daily life.
Right.
So to me, it's not really like every once in a while I'm like, it's like a reality check when I tweet something, and I got these weirdos that are like living in what is clearly this fucking fabricated like bubble reality, where I was like, man, like you know, all the musicians that I hang out with talk about politics. They talk about the
All
state of
day.
the world, like,
Because
And
we're
in certain
all
cases-
politicians.
like I was saying earlier. I don't want to get political on the show or anything, but I
Oh,
mentioned,
you can. I do.
You can.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
I was just saying
You're
a little bit
fine.
earlier, like
It's like what Nina Simone said. It's not being political. It's about being socially aware of what's
Yes,
going on
absolutely.
around
That
you.
is exactly
it's
what it
not
is.
political. Like when people say that shit, I'm just like, wait, no, I don't like Trump because he's a Republican. I don't like Trump because he's a piece of shit.
Plain
Like
and simple.
it's two different things. Like I don't like Democrats. I'm not with any gang. I just think this motherfucker is wild.
Well, the
And he should
discrepancy,
be-
and I think that Jake is about to speak about is like, even time when we say that, people will literally say the words, "I don't listen to music to hear politics. This is my escape." And you're kind of like, I mean,
That's some fuck shit.
like,
Yeah, that's some fuck.
you know what I mean?
That's
Like, I
absolute
don't
fuck
want to
shit.
hear that shit. I'd rather, if I want to hear that, I turn on the news. I'm like, well, I'm sorry that I'm affected by the fucking world that's going on.
Yeah.
Don't turn on no Marvin Gaye or something. What's going on? Because you missing
But
the whole
listen,
point.
all of it. Rock and roll was
Yeah.
the voice of rebellion.
They-
Hip hop
they-
was
yeah.
literally the language of the streets. It was the news report. Like, it's literally embedded in the soul of music.
Absolutely.
Shit.
There's
Down to
not even a
Look,
conversation.
any music that has black roots is embedded in struggle.
it
like-
also,
Well, you just shitted on EDM, so I was gonna ask Jake this. Like, wait, no, I didn't mean that in a bad way. No, I meant
What?
that EDM is an escapism,
God damn
right?
it!
no.
No,
He wasn't shitting
no,
on
no.
you. He's shitting
No,
on
no,
you.
because I was
No,
thinking
no,
about
no,
that,
no.
and then you just said that, and I was like, boom, that's a good segue. So like, yeah. So Jake, what do you think about that shit? Because like EDM is escapism. It's complete escapism. There's no like. and
Doesn't
it's not
have to
even-
be.
It's not
But
even being a
that's-
diss. It's like you want to go somewhere and like
Doesn't have to be
escape
escapism.
reality.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right,
is
that's what I was gonna say.
he
Like, what
doesn't.
do you
Let him
think
talk.
about
Let him
that
talk.
shit?
Let him
Because
talk.
like
I think,
there's no messages in dance music other than 3, 2, 1, jump and like
Yeah.
let's get this
He
party
does.
started. Hey,
Go ahead,
you know what I mean?
Jake. Craze, hold on. Let Jake talk, because I believe Jake does put that stuff in his music. That's why I was talking.
yeah,
about it.
I mean, like, I feel like that,
Like, yeah,
like,
he doesn't do coke to do more coke. I'm sorry.
which, like, I mean, those are two separate topics.
bad, go ahead.
The funniest shit is when people come up to me and think that the Coke song is about doing coke, and they're like,
"What?"
I'm like, "Man, you know that song's about like not doing coke, right?" I remember I played like this mix.
All I heard was Coke.
Dude, same shit. Yo, literally that. Like I played this like mix mag thing out here in LA. It was like a daytime thing too. But it was like a mix mag live stream thing. So I did the DJ set. It was like, 2 p.m, and a couple of guys came up to me that were clearly fucking just on something.
Great.
And they're like, "Yo, man, I love your song. I do coke. We were just doing a bunch of coke. You want to do some coke?" I was like, "Nah, man." I was like, started explaining to them like why the song is about kind of like an endless cycle of like, something being a means to an end. Coke could be, you could insert anything in there. You could put work in there, actually. Working just to work is an endless.
Sticking with coke, can you imagine being high on coke in a club and then the person you told to do coke while you're high on coke told you that's not the way?
Actually, the lyrics
what?
are from a 1980s anti-drug commercial. So I showed them it on my phone, and man, they got so fucking pissed. I thought they were gonna fight me. They were like,
"Sorry,
so what? So you're trying to tell me that basically they're getting offended that because they're clearly on coke and asking me if I wanted to do coke, and I was like, no. And actually, the song is just about how you're kind of destroying your life, like
it's totally.
And they're fucking.
Yo, but they weren't like tuned in enough to understand that shit. Because when I first heard that shit, I was like, "What? This is."
Well, I guess fire. That's just kind of like the tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Of course, people are going to be on a bump.
But even in the one that wasn't, I mean, But yeah,
so Kill It For the Kids,
for
example, with Trump. Like actually,
for those who haven't seen that video, you are sleeping. Sugar Brad, if you could pull that link up in the chat, love you, thank you.
Yeah, he was just talking about running, and wasn't even a candidate yet.
No, it was 5 years ago.
It was to me, it did like have like it represented the. It was a sign of the times that someone like Trump would even consider running for president, right? Like, but anyway, I digress. Mm-hmm. What Craze is asking is 100% like where we're at with not only EDM, but I feel like popular culture in general, where it's like, where does people's morality fit into the equation of like making money? Mm-hmm. I think about that with like, all this like crypto stuff and like, with the environmental, aspect of NFTs and, even being like a social media influencer, quote unquote, like what are people's responsibilities to like everybody's struggle at the end of the day and creating equity for other people in a system. And, I think one of the things that a lot of people seem to forget is that when you have a platform, that's like a opportunity to like help other people get into a position, and I was lucky enough to have met a bunch of people. Man, Craze, you're definitely one of those people for me that helped me kind of find a space in the dance world, and even agency, like with back in the day, it was AIM Only, right? With Denise and everything. But yeah, if more and more, it feels like the EDM space, it's tough to say. Like at times I'm like, okay, so EDM kind of, sometimes it's not a musical thing. It's more of like almost like a ethos. Like you could tell when someone's EDM because they check some boxes in the way that they kind of conduct themselves.
The
right?
formula.
And like this whole, like you're saying, they're a brand more than they are anything else. So their likelihood to speak out about things like, the QAnon stuff, and racism and like trans rights. And I mean, the list goes on and on with all the social issues we're dealing with at the moment. They don't want to say anything because it might fuck up their booking situation, or, it might fuck up their metrics. That's a bigger one. Like,
can you name anyone specific you want to tell that? No, I'm just kidding.
Yo, but I'll make a quick example of how that is not really real. So like with EDM, with rap, everybody fears that shit. Don't be too vocal because you might get less bookings, less looks, less money, all this shit. I did a couple of shows with Calle 13, and before I did those shows with Calle 13, I knew who they were, and I was just like, oh right, they're the biggest fucking hip hop group in Latin America, like in Spanish music, period. Right?
You broke this down to me before. Who they were. All that.
Yeah, and then
you want to do that for the chat?
Them, and that shit fucked me up because I was just like, oh shit, I knew their music, but like these motherfuckers are straight up. Rene in general, the main guy, he's the most political dude in the world.
Right.
And that's what makes them huge because there's so many oppressed people in Latin America that's the only shit they relate to.
That they relate to.
You know what I'm saying? The thing is, in the States, is like everybody's so dumb. I don't understand that we need somebody like that.
Misguided.
No, I'm saying, and I know it came out wrong, but I'm saying it.
No, I know it. That's why I'm here for you. You good?
Look, a lot of music in America, though, is a lot of I should say music that's on the mass radar.
There you go.
Is so tied to corporations, whether it be corporate radio, whether it be corporate talent agencies, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I remember listening to an interview with Chris Stapleton, the country singer. Okay, he's got a couple of songs that I like, and I was like, oh, I want to listen to this dude. And he literally said something about McDonald's in passing, and he's like, no disrespect to McDonald's. And anytime a company got mentioned, he'd be like, no disrespect to, like, it's a company. You don't have to apologize to a company, but literally, he's afraid that the corporate ties to country music are somehow going to have some sort of backlash to him, and he doesn't want any of, you know what I mean? You could tell by the way he talks. And it's crazy. So I think that in America, it's different than, say, Latin America. I think there's a big difference in the way music works.
There's definitely some of that, right? Like, the other thing, too, is I think there's a lot of people out there that are doing the music thing that are they're fully just uninformed, and they don't know, they could, and I've seen it happen more than once where like, I'm like, damn, actually that person that I wouldn't have expected to say something about Trump or something like that, they actually like spoke out and put themselves out there and said some shit, and now they're being attacked.
Yep. And
they actually don't understand what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And they just like, because the thing is like, it can also be trendy to get on that train, right? And there's also a path at a certain point where everyone goes, yo, this person isn't saying anything, so we know where they stand because they're not saying anything. That's a stance when they're not saying anything.
That's also not.
You got to say something, otherwise
we got to stop doing that too.
There's a poetic brilliance that happens. So I think we're over. What we're saying is that there isn't a lot of message music in EDM, if any. And I think that's pretty much the thing that probably needs to be figured out is all right, so like, I'm just going to hit y'all in the head. Strange Fruit, Welcome to the Terror Dome, what's going on. These are loved records, right?
That's why I never understand it, dude.
And the key thing to a lot of those records, besides one group really understanding, is the fact that it went over another side's head because they just love the musicality of it, and even listened to the words and still didn't know what was going on when they was talking about it. And I think that's what sort of needs to be the idea in EDM in a sense, you know. I mean, you know, as lyricists, me, Monty, and V, we always gonna stay on the edge of whatever reality is. You know, I need that in my life. I'm from a different space.
It's also my responsibility, not just that I need it. I have to do it.
Absolutely.
For my sanity, for my children's
sake.
I say a lot of wild shit. At least every now and then I can try to help.
I will say this though. I will say this though. I don't think EDM should be woke. But all I'm saying is like, it'd be dope if there was like a Rage Against the Machine that was EDM.
Yes, right.
Because that
Rage
shit
Against the Machine is another group.
needed right now. Like,
let's do it.
I think with social media.
Well, yeah, hold on, wait. What's the definition of woke to you, though?
Being
a responsible human being?
No. There's that fake woke that's happening now, and there's woke people that, you know, you just look for more to the picture, and like I'm
Also-
not talking about conspiracy. I'm
Also,
talking about
people
fucking,
also have to
you know,
understand
I'm
what
talking about
people have to
mental
understand.
health and fucking your soul and all that shit. You know, I'm not talking about like
Yeah.
Bill Gates wants to put a chip in my ass or some shit like that.
Well,
You
that's
know, I'm
not
talking
woke.
about-
That's
Also,
conspiracy theorists.
I also want to
That's-
clarify. A lot of people use the term woke just to describe someone who believe a certain side of this issue. The term
But that's
woke.
the new. That's the new.
That's
woke
the new
shit. Like
case.
when
Like for
every time,
those who
like,
don't know
what's his
what
face?
woke really means, it's the transition. It's actually the fact that you used to not know and now you do.
Right,
And
and
that's
right.
a very
And now
important thing.
right wingers have overtaken the
I can tell you-
word and
Yeah.
use it as a fucking catchphrase.
something-
Like when Joe Rogan says woke, I want to puke.
Right. Thank you.
It's like-
Thank you.
What's
It's
up,
like
Jake?
fuck you, Joe Rogan. Like you don't know what that shit is, bro.
Like
you're-
people who are actually woke don't even say the word woke anymore. You know, it's like remember the joke, the Chappelle joke about skeet skeet skeet. He's like, as soon as white people find out what skeet 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 means, because white people are always late to the game when it comes to slang. Like those people that originally were using woke don't even say that anymore. It's become a right wing term for people
It's a
they don't
cringe
like.
thing. You
It's
think
like my
conspiracy
brother. My
theorists-
brother's right wing, and like he says that shit all the time. I can't
right.
stand it. He says it all the time. It's just
It's like
no.
when we- it's
he
like
says
when-
skeet skeet skeet.
It's like stop. It's like when we all laughed when the weekend was on the Super Bowl and we were like, "Does everyone know he's talking about cocaine?" like,
Oh yeah.
it's like this is
Well, like-
awkward.
Damn, money, you
Postman
woke.
was happy when that song
The
came
other
on. I
thing,
know that.
just on that topic, just because I think about this stuff a lot, especially because of our kids. You know, like if there's something, you know, like when you leave your phone plugged in overnight, and every once in a while you'll wake up and it downloaded some fucking update while you're sleeping.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? I feel like that happened to me when I had my son. Like I woke up the next day and I was just like, damn, I'm a dad. Like, what kind of a fucking world are we living in? Like, I
Right.
gotta make sure that I understand at least as much as I can, like what the fuck is going on here. And every day that's gone by, it's become more and more of like part of who I am, is trying to understand things that like had maybe in certain cases just from being around, right? For
Right.
40 years, like there's certain things that are on your radar that you're like, okay, that's a thing. I don't know much about it. The one we were talking about earlier is like all this conflict going on in the Middle East,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in Israel and Palestine and all this stuff.
And people really need to pay attention to that and like
And-
actually dig into the history of such. Continue.
Right. So
Oh,
I'm,
but
I'm
that's
like,
a rabbit
damn,
hole.
man.
But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
Well, I'm saying
But they
like
need to go
on
down
the
that
tip
rabbit
on the
hole.
topic of understanding the world we live in. It's like I'm watching like friends of mine that are from Israel, like saying they have a very like nuanced, unexpected, like, you know, in certain cases it's one way or the other their view on what's happening right now over there.
Right.
You know? And I was like, damn, for all the shit that's going on in that region, I personally wasn't taught very much about this being an American. I don't know that much about
And
what's
you
happening over there.
cannot
Right.
get into a middle of one of those. Listen, it's
So
probably
I'm
one
not
of the
saying
longest
anything, but I'm
arguments
like
ever
listening
in the
and I'm
history of
paying
internet.
attention. Right. Yeah, I'm paying attention to what's going on over there and hearing what my friends are saying and hearing what people. I have a friend that lives there. That's in a text group. It's like
Mm.
while all this stuff's going on, and I'm like, damn, man. Like, first off, just like put my mind in that space where I'm like, you know, imagine being in an environment where people are shooting rockets at each other. You know, just think about that for a minute. Like, damn.
Yeah.
And then getting
And it's
into
normal for them.
why is this happening? Who are these people? Why are they in this conflict? And then we were saying before, it's like, isn't it funny how fucking England's behind the most fucked up shit in the world at some point?
Yeah.
And then that triggers a whole other conversation, right?
And this is why I
then-
told people to go down that rabbit hole and not to.
Well, yeah, we have to think
Not
about it as
to-
Americans
hold-
too.
hold on.
Like, I mean, Americans need to think about America's role
For
in the
sure.
many years of conflict in that. Considering we have
Yikes.
sold
Yeah.
Israel like a lot of their arms and
And
funded
Iran.
them very well, and Iran. You know, so I mean, it's like we have turned a blind eye to the things that Israel has done to Palestine
That's what's
in the
going on.
name of maintaining the Jewish homeland. So it is an immense piece of history that people need to digest, and
Huge.
unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that attention span anymore. Like, this is literally something that people spend their careers studying, and they still don't know everything that there is to know about it. We're talking thousands of years of religious tradition, conflict, blah blah blah, it's so deep.
And it's so deep. I'm gonna say something extremely it'll seem very surface level at first, and there's a lesson in the potential mistake I almost made. I was sitting there watching all of this happen, and I had that really weird artist moment where I was like, man, I want to say something really bad. Let me go tweet. And I went to go pick up my phone, and well, no, right, you're laughing, and that's the point. It's like, why do we do
I've been
that?
there.
You know, it's like, why do you do that? Like, do we feel we
Laughing
need
'cause
to
I've
do
been
that?
there, yeah.
And then you're arguing with yourself, like, no, I'm being genuine, but it's kind of going to come off as
Right.
performative. But then before I said, no, I really feel deeply about this. I actually know about these things, but in that moment right there is when I stopped myself, because having a tweet of that situation is going to do. The story is so damn deep. There is no way in hell there's anything I can put in 140 characters that's going to make you understand or feel the pain. I implore everyone to actually dig deep. It's a long rabbit hole. I'm not going to tell you when you're going to figure it out or when you can understand what's going on. It's not going to happen tonight. It's going to be a very long walk, but it is crucially important. It is so important for about as long as we've been alive. The entire world has been gathering together to make sure that place doesn't implode or everyone's fucked.
Yo, the
you know what I'm
only
saying?
thing
So
that,
like,
the
it's
only
like
thing that makes
World
sense
War
about that,
III type shit. Like, so pay the fuck attention. That's all.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
trying
but
to
right
say.
now it is it is veering dangerously close to
And that's
being
why I'm
full
imploring
scale
people to
fucking
go
war in
pay
the Middle East.
attention.
And the thing is, part of the problem is like trying to maintain the status quo there has allowed Israel, their current right wing government under Netanyahu, to be much more aggressive about expanding their settlements, much more aggressive about engaging the Palestinians, much more aggressive in taking land. So if you look at the amount of land that Israel has taken from the Palestinian territories over the decades, it has increased, and the Palestinian territories has gotten smaller and smaller.
that's the only thing. Like,
you know what I mean?
when the only thing I even retweeted, I wasn't gonna say shit, was the Trevor Noah thing, because that's the only thing I understand 100%. The only thing I understand 100% is that somebody has this much more power right now than this little guy. This little guy.
Well, the problem is the Palestinians
I understand. So it's a bully doing way more crazier shit.
Right. And then Palestinians
like,
as
I'm
people.
not saying any of them are right. A bully is fucking shit up right now. And they're escalating shit to a point where it could become.
Well, and look, Palestinians have no political position. Like, they don't have like legal status, quote unquote, within Israel, even though they live within Israeli borders.
Yeah, it's like what I'm saying. I don't care who's right or wrong.
It's a lot like it is very apartheid-like.
It's from the outside looking in. It's a bully doing fucked up shit right
all
now.
I'm gonna say.
Wait.
I'm and Jake, I'll let you speak in a minute. I just want people to know that this conversation here will intensify because it's that layered, and I implore you all to please go research it and figure it. It's a lot. It's a lot.
We should go back into like sound design.
Yeah, that's what before we go, because we won't finish until 3 a.m. if we start talking about this. Right?
3 a.m.
It is.
I was gonna say
it is important, is what I'm saying.
To go back to what Craze is asking, like about like having
sound design.
Well, no, just like the EDM, like in dance music, like having kind of more of like
message,
like social awareness, like and trying to make it more inclusive, like, and trying to keep some kind of narrative going around what's going on in the world and all that. I feel like that's like just my take on it is that the main thing is that there's a lot of young, and this isn't really, and they're not that young. They're not like in high school, but I think a lot of these people just have they're not informed enough to make any kind of statements, I think. And then the other thing for me personally, like I brought up this topic, not to discuss it on the stream here, but I was going to say, me personally, I look at the situation and it's hard not to react to images that you see. Like 100%. I've seen TikToks of people being like beaten to death. I've seen cars getting fucking blown up. I've seen people riding around with AK-47s shooting shit up. Obviously, like the Iron Dome, the fucking missile defense system around Israel. my brain is, it's like, you know, like that Clockwork Orange fucking scene.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like that, not only today with what's going on in this particular conflict, but I feel like the world, like everything from George Floyd to fucking Trump,
It's a
to
powder keg.
the pandemic. I feel like that it's a rude awakening for some people. It's for some people that have been in a situation, obviously, like, it's like, yo, I'm glad that people fucking are noticing what's going on. It's getting harder and harder to not notice how dysfunctional the world has become, you know? So it does stand out a lot more when you have people in a position where they're like making a bunch of money, they got a platform, and it's like they got nothing to say. It's like, God bless his soul, David Guetta, but he's saying, you know, that.
Oh God, no! Please don't repeat it. Don't repeat it. God, don't repeat it.
I mean, I look at the guy.
What did he say?
You didn't see the video of him DJing on the rooftop? And he had. Okay, I'll send you the link.
No.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not gonna.
Why is it that every
today?
David Guetta moment the past 5 years is a cringe moment? I don't.
No. Look, because I don't want to rag on him. Because like a part of me is like, I'm hoping it came from a good place, and you just
did that happen today?
said no. It was like in the middle of the riots, dude. Like proper powder keg popping off, and David Guetta gets on the decks.
I like how you're calling him Guetta.
Yeah, whatever.
It's called. There's a video of it. It says David Guetta ends racism.
Yeah.
Shit, it's like that. It's like that Jenner commercial with the Pepsi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he plays the music, bro.
And
he was just like, shout out to his family or some shit like that. It was just like,
play some music, y'all.
Like, fam, what are you?
He played like the worst. He played like the worst, like EDM banger from like 2012.
But let me say this. But that's the whole problem with this whole shit, that we don't have a voice like that in dance music or nothing like that. That's how dumb these motherfuckers are, and that's how.
You gotta stop using that word.
Let me. I gotta like. Watch what I say.
It's all right.
Cancel.
The crowd.
I don't know, but what if it's true, Armani? I mean, if it's true,
I'm not having the two of you because the both of you, I can only handle one valiant at a time.
There's not people informing them like, yo, we're in a fucking weird place right now because of social media, because of music, because of everything, that we allowed somebody like Trump to become a president.
Said
like,
I have a dream.
And it's not just one thing, it's a bunch of things. And one of those things is the music that we're digesting. It's fucking escapism. It's just bullshit on rap level, on EDM level, on everything. It's not an old head saying it. It is an old head saying it.
No, I agree with you, dude. I agree.
It's there's no message in music. And I'm not even talking about political shit or social awareness shit. It's like there's no thought into
so you're saying that you and I should make an album.
I think the five of us right now are becoming the EDM Rage Against the Machine. That's what's gonna happen.
I mean, that's what I was trying to do.
We need something like that.
I'll tell you what. How about we play some music?
About goddamn time.
I got a bunch of political tunes coming out, Craze. I'll send them to you. Don't worry.
Yeah, we all have political tunes. That's the funny part. It's like
I think
everyone,
I think it shouldn't be underappreciated. Like it's funny how like what you're saying, Craze, like the like the impetus, like the meaning and the message behind why people are making the shit that they're making. Where they're coming from in their life, their environment, how that ends up influencing their music and the scene and the culture as a result. I feel like that sometimes it's not just necessarily having like Zach De La Rocha and Tom Morello and those guys like saying fuck the system, you know? Like sometimes it's more like, look at this group, this dynamic group that come from all these different backgrounds working together, and like look at the level that they're working at, like, and look at the audience, like look at the people, like look at this picture of how things can be, like that to me. Well, that's what music is like. You know?
That's what I loved about Selection. When I first went to a Selection party, that's the feeling I got. I was just like, whoa. It's been EDM for so long, and now I'm in a club with all these mixed races, and they're dancing to soulful electronic music.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? This is what it should be like at raves. And raves didn't embrace them. They made their own raves. They made their own vibe. You know what I mean? And it was just like, fuck, that's where the vibe should be going. Like electronic music doing, you know, music with soul.
Yeah.
All right, that
was
shot
right.
just kicked in. Anyways,
No, you
I
on the
feel
path.
that though,
You're on the
man.
path.
Yeah,
You're on the
yeah,
path.
yeah.
it was, it was just like, I feel like EDM needs, I don't know, it needs like some
Soul, you were right. So you don't need to waver from that.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
Yeah, but no, it needs
I feel
thought.
that big time.
It needs thought, and honestly, that was why I fell in love with drum and bass, because it's a thinking man's music. It's not
Well,
you can just throw that, not to pull it
it
back to
needs
that.
relation
But,
then in that sense. Then it needs
but
relation to said thought.
yeah,
That's
but,
what everybody needs to sort of relate. Don't get me wrong. You could just be a banger, but once
I mean, but everybody can
you
relate
can
to
make it.
EDM.
You can
It's
make a
1,
banger
2,
with.
3, jump.
It only makes 1, 2, 3 jump when you say that at the club.
I mean,
you
the
can
way
make
that-
the same banger with thought
That's the other
in the words.
Yeah, that's the other side of EDM too. To me, like when I think of the word EDM, I just think of like beer sponsors and like
You're
you
right.
know, fucking
You're
big
right.
big raves with you know like fucking you know just lowest common denominator like college students that are in there to just like they're going on the EDM ride like it's
Right.
Disney World, you know.
Well,
It's
I
like-
hate to say, it's funny.
Magic
A lot of
Mountain,
the people that
man.
you're talking about, Jake, are like the same people that basically became Rage Against the Machine's core audience after a while. And like that's kind of like the weird, people are like, oh, we need a new Rage Against the Machine. We need something new.
Yeah, it was like
I
the
actually don't think we
right-wingers who were
need.
like, wait a minute, Tom Morello, why are you talking about politics? And it's like,
Well, what I'm saying is I don't think that dance music needs a new Rage Against the Machine. I think dance music needs a whole fucking movement of acts that are willing to discuss
well,
Yeah,
the thing
or
is,
willing to put these things in their music. Not just one. We need a bunch.
it's one of the things where when an idea,
In a creative way. You don't even have
yeah,
to just.
well, I'm saying like when an idea gets big, like you know, it's like it's easy to keep ideals. I think that's one of the things we're realizing about capitalism, right? It's like when you have a small community, then you can sustain mom and pop shops. You can, you know, have a certain, you know, environment that has a balance of a lot of the sensibilities that people in the community want in their situation, right? But once you start creating the system that's bigger, like Walmart or whatever, it's like if we're gonna have falling prices around here, we got to kick all these little shops out of the fucking area, you know?
And they
Like,
swallow the whole community with that madness too. Exactly what Walmart.
so yeah, and then it's like, whose interests are we really looking out for here when we have this big system? Like, all of a sudden it starts looking like if you own Walmart, then you're the winner, you know? Like everyone else.
To a degree, you're a winner until somebody creates that new momentum to go against the system.
There's a way.
You know what I mean? That's how it's worked pretty much.
Did
in
you guys?
history.
Anybody
And
here watch the last Blockbuster?
No,
I saw
I'm
part of
on the
it.
list.
I saw part of it.
I want you guys to go watch the last Blockbuster because this is such a weird analogy that came up. But what's funny about Blockbuster, which I didn't know, because people said that they pushed out all the mom and pop shots. But did you know that Blockbuster actually gave all of those mom and pop shots franchise?
Oh, really?
Didn't know that.
Oh, shit.
So basically, they
I
kept
kind of
the
remember
same
that too, because
they
like I
kept-
remember everything just became Blockbuster,
It just
but it was
became
still the
Blockbuster,
videos.
still the same
Right.
store, same employees, same everything.
Yeah.
They actually gave them a piece of equity from Blockbuster.
That's cool.
Interesting.
Dwell on that.
and then somebody else's money destroyed every one last one. Of
Well,
them.
yeah, of course, obviously, then we got the digital and Netflix said, fuck all y'all. But I'm just saying,
Just stay home.
the business
that's-
model, I'm saying the business model is there. Is what I'm saying.
Well, like what you're saying, Craze, it's like the selection guys, it's like they created their own deposit, right? And like, I feel like that periodically throughout your career, you've done that in more ways than one. Man, actually, you and Armani and that had what's it called? And Photech and
That does.
fucking-
Take
yeah, that was like I mean, I
Fucking
remember
tech
at the
does,
time,
baby.
that was such a dynamic force that was like
TV talk.
musically, I mean, in every way, it was dynamic, right? Like it,
Oh,
it was
yeah,
a
man.
breath of fresh air. From
It was like
more-
Voltron. We all had our jobs.
For sure.
yeah, but also like just
It would
from
be
like
really dope if we started doing things again.
in terms
You
of
know?
in terms of like representation of different people in the music world,
Right.
like coming together to make something fun. Like most of the time, I think, again, you know, I hate to say it, I don't hate to say it, it's just an observation. It's like EDM to me also is just like, fuck, dude, because it puts me on the spot. It's like white guy with hat on playing fucking
White guy
right?
with hat on.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm real with myself too about it. Where I'm
Yeah,
like,
but you
man,
make
you know,
dope shit though, so it's not.
at
The
the
same.
well, I mean, that's I saw this.
You're not cashing in. That's the difference.
You know what it is, because Craze, you're in the video. I watched Scratch the other day. That's
Oh
dope.
shit.
Oh, come
That's
on, man.
it's so dope. Like, I feel
Scratch
like
is
you
such
need
a
to watch
fucking.
that.
I can watch that over and over
Yeah,
again.
Yeah, come on.
I
I
can't.
love that.
I
I was wearing
listening,
triple X.
I was listening to that one little section where it's like Mixmaster Mike talking about Qbert. They're talking about how he was like, man, like when we were hanging out together, we were always like, he's like trying to emulate what Mixmaster Mike was always doing. Then he moved away, so he had to like come up with his own shit. So he started imagining like, what would like a space, like alien race, how would they scratch? I'll like try to pretend, like to come up with some new ideas or whatever. I feel like in the EDM space, it's like, man, if I want to like claim a space here, I need to be unlike the other white guys with hats on. You know what I'm saying? That are just trying
I
to
love it.
blend in, right? And like be a part of the infrastructure of EDM. That's kind of like what my perspective has been. And
Because
some
you're the
of it was-
contrarian.
I mean, look, we are
Well,
at
some of it
a
was
time of
just-
extreme right now. So
Right, yeah.
the inspiration is just there for the taking for any EDM producer that might be listening, besides the people in here, you know, like.
And Jake. Oh, sorry.
No, you know,
And-
do your thing.
And Jake, and just to give you your roses, you always did that shit with electro music, with trap. Like one of your trap fucking tunes, your first ones, was way better than all the other trap tunes that everybody else is making, and it was like so hilarious because it was just like, oh, it's Jake, it's cool noise. And like you've done that with you know with a lot of your music.
Every
you're
genre.
You're not just the white guy with the hat on.
That's
Like,
what I was getting at. I was like, so like EDM music has the white guy with the hat on, or even some of the black guys with the hat on, but it's like very formulaic, manufactured, whatever. Look, man,
Yeah.
when a Kill the Noise tune comes out, everybody stops and pays the fucking attention, dude. You have always been at the
And then you did the
forefront.
same thing with Rhythm, and then you did the same thing with
At
what are
the
you working on next?
forefront of yeah, whatever you're doing now. At the
Yeah,
forefront
what
of
are you working
innovation,
on next, Jake?
What are you working on next? Don't say Violet because I wouldn't. I want to hear a
Yeah, I'm
fucking
just
Kill the
I'm just
Noise
trying to,
Violet tune.
I'm just trying to find the vibe in the space, and it's been very difficult with the fact that there aren't shows, because like you were saying earlier, so much of I mean, it's gonna get harder and harder, I guess, as I get older, but so much of my inspiration comes from being in the club. You know what I'm saying? And like being at parties, talking to people, traveling, like going overseas. And anytime I'm run out of inspiration, I was saying I can just, if I go to the UK and hang out with my friends over there and go and do normal shit, go to clubs, I always get the spark back somehow. I hear something, and like we were saying earlier, like being outside of my comfort zone and being around different culture, and you know, I'm not saying that it's not inspirational to play in the States, but there's something about getting outside of that tunnel vision. And I'm in it big time because of the pandemic, where I've had a lot of time. Ironically, it's funny how when you have all the time in the world, you don't do shit. When you got like a gun to your head, somehow it gets done, you know? Like, and
Deadlines, man. They
there's
fucking
like
work.
there's
I
something
need that shit
said
next
for being
week
that-
or a month from now.
Wait, so
I'm
were you
doing it.
inspired
Oh.
by the pandemic or not inspired by the?
In
by the
some
pandemic?
ways, yes. Like you were saying earlier, in some ways, I've gotten back in touch with my craft. Like, you know, I feel like I was like in retirement mode where I was like waking up, cooking, hanging out with my son, and then I get in the studio, and I felt like
Time to make the donuts.
like a woodworker or something, like just one with my craft, you know, like making a table.
So
know?
these tunes you sent me, are they a product of said thing?
No, some like the newer stuff I've been working on, it's still like all in that state
Hidden.
of like I don't know if it's done yet or not. I'm just like, I'm making stuff, you know? I'm making a lot of stuff. The stuff I sent you was actually, yeah, some of it was. Let me see my email.
Yeah. I can give you names.
One thing was like a drum and bass thing I
wasn't going to say anything. See, you done
Oh,
spilled the
Jake,
tea.
send me some new drum and bass.
You done spilled the tea. I was going to play last.
Wait a second.
Damn it. I've been waiting this whole time to surprise everyone. We should have talked beforehand. That's my fault. I was like, I can't wait to drop this on the chat. They gonna wild out because he made some D&B. And it's fucking fire.
Come on.
Working on that kind of stuff.
Hey, Jake, real quick. Someone, Esoteric is asking if you've got like a favorite track that you like to drop. If you could pick one that's like your favorite shit.
I'm
Is
just
there
checking
one?
the chat. I'm still here.
Or are they like your children and you can't pick a favorite?
Oh, of my own music?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's always like I feel like the environment is always the deciding factor. It's like I always I can always make that decision better when I'm like in a room with a group of people having a couple drinks or at a show in front of the crowd. Like if I have to think about it in a cerebral way, I always just am like, I don't know, man, because the songs are, you know, it's like I love the happy birthday song as long as it's someone's birthday. You know what I mean? Shit like that. You know what I mean? Like happy birthday goes off when it's someone's birthday.
Jake needs context.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got the Love mashup.
Ooh.
What's that?
Got the Love mash is the other one. I'm not playing the drum bass one first because.
Oh yeah, so like we basically made like a
This motherfucker, you trying to make me take another shot?
You're welcome.
I'm with myself right now.
You're welcome.
We'll see. You know what's kind of interesting, man? Like hanging out with people on the internet like this is a new thing from the pandemic, and like
for sure,
it's a different kind of fun that I enjoy. Like drinking. Like I've gotten wasted.
Oh, absolutely.
In Zoom chats,
birthday parties. Like
just talking track here, man. Track's all about
every week.
Every week, getting lit.
It's almost like the first time I went to like a really dope vegan restaurant. I was like, fuck vegan food. I went to this place Crossroads out here in LA, and I was like, damn, vegan food is dope. It's not gonna replace everything else that I like, but every once in a while, I like it. I feel like that's the same thing with like hanging out with people on the internet.
I was just doing everything
vegan food.
It's kind of like vegan.
He's over here trying to flex his crib. You know? Relax, dog.
What?
All right, I'm gonna play this mashup. This one's called. It's titled "Got the Love."
Me and Matt made this for our drive-in. We did a drive-in park and rave.
Oh, nice. Okay.
March. So this is like pretty new. Like
there you go.
Yeah,
you said Matt Zo?
Yeah, me and Matt.
Bro, Matt is making the dopest drum and bass right now, bro.
It's not drum and bass.
Oh, his stuff's really dope. Hell yeah.
Fuck.
Shouts to Matt.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, we're gonna play this one and then I'll play the drum bass tune because I know y'all want to hear it. I was gonna surprise you. That's my fault though. All right, so Roti and Poutine every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. We are here once again with a special guest, Kill the Noise. This one's called Got the Love Super Mashup. No one's heard it outside of the drive-in, so you heard it here first. Second, I don't know. Also, I love this sample, by the way. So
yeah,
I had to do a little pull-up. I'm sorry. That's
hell yeah.
The world should know that. What?
I said it sounds like it was clipping a little bit.
Oh, let me fix that.
Alright, don't need the sound in
here. Hey! Roti and Poutine every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. 5 a.m. if you over there with Dillon, 9 a.m. if you with the G-Man. Kill the Noise. Crazy in the building too. Let's go.
Already loving it.
Emojis in the chat, emojis in the chat. Y'all know how we go.
We have a system we are dissatisfied with, and it's sometimes quite fake. But we have no other picture of the future. That's the problem.
Fire.
Hypernormalization. That was Adam Curtis.
Oh, shit.
Roti and Poutine every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. The Armani Rain, Track the Valiant, special guest, Kill the Noise. Also, special added guest, the DJ Craze. This is my radio voice.
That's fire. Fire.
That goes into some B&B.
So that's you and Matt?
Yeah, this is from like our project.
Spilling the tea, spilling the tea. Special guest, Kill the Noise, DJ Crazed. Shout out my rap team, hashtag rap team. We see y'all. Thank y'all for being here. All my new followers, thank you so much. All the new subscribers, thank you very much.
This guy.
Yeah, you're not just the white guy with a hat.
This guy.
Uh-oh. Sheesh. Emojis in the chat, emojis in the chat. Yeah. Chat going crazy, I like that. Show the love, show the love.
How the fuck do I see the chat?
You know we can hear you, right?
Oh, chat. Oh, that's our chat. Sorry.
Goddamn. Roti and Poutine every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Armani Rain, the Track the Valiant, special guest, very, very special guest. Kill the Noise, EWUN the Gun. Big up special guest also, the DJ Craze joining us.
Dropping by, as those guests tend to do.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
If there's another break in this fucking song, it's too long, bro.
This is way too long.
That's fire, bro.
That was like a whole.
No.
Shout out
shit
Matt
checks all
Zoe.
the
Shout out
boxes,
Matt Zoe.
like-
You should follow that man. If you don't know who Matt Zoe is, please start paying attention.
That was like a combination of a couple tunes that we wrote. That last drum and bass part is from like 7 years ago or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
So there's like it's kind of like a little bit of a journey that we
Nice.
made. Some of it was newer, some of it was older, but whatever.
You played that at the drive-in, eh? How was the drive-in?
Yeah, that's got to be a weird experience.
It was yeah, it was a little. It was weird, but it was good. Like.
So people honk at you if they like it. Is that what happens?
What's that?
People are honking at you if they like it. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, I was like, I think I said like, I was like, if you're having a good time out there, like spray your windshield wiper fluid.
That's amazing.
My God.
That's good.
No fucking way.
I'm joking. Nah, I
Oh
tried
no, I thought you were serious. I was like, that's dope.
Now they actually told us not to tell people to use their horns and shit.
No, I mean the wiper thing, not the horn thing.
No, I know.
Everybody does the horn.
Yeah, y'all should just fucking do a rave in Miami. What's good?
Do a fucking
we are
dubstep demolition derby.
Miami's
Yeah, there you
been
go.
back to normal for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, as of today,
back
as
to
of
their
today, it's
normal.
pretty much game on. I think in most places.
Yeah,
Like,
it is. As a matter of fact, we're having a LTJ Bookham show the 30th of May at Wish Lounge. So that's called,
coming up.
29th,
That's
I
like
see you, Marty.
it's called promotion.
2 weeks. Shit.
If you're in
Daddy
Orlando,
Doe, Johnny
same
Good
show,
Time, the
with
night
Monty,
before.
LTJ, myself, Fat Warrior.
The night before.
Meanwhile,
Promotion.
Ontario is locked
We'll be
down
there.
for another 4 weeks or something
I'm
like that.
sorry. I'm
Fuck.
sorry. Yes, we're not downplaying the situation. We're just saying that.
No, it's just
All right.
different.
So we've got
Governmental approaches are different.
we've got this other one you sent me that I'm not going to try to pronounce. Would you like?
Is that the drum and bass one?
Well, that one was technically the drum and bass one we just played too, but this one's
This is drum and bass.
short.
this is Ice
sweet, to the
Station
point.
01.
This is Begonias.
Oh, this is like a little fun one that I made. It's like a little
Let me explain something before you continue on. When I heard it, I was like, okay.
Did you like it? Not really.
I love it.
wanna
I
hear
just
this shit.
I
Yes!
love it. I love it because it's good, and I love it because I wasn't expecting it from you.
Okay.
Yo, if
I
this
did
is
like a
Mr.
little. I
Happy
did like a little
times
remix
two,
of like a.
let's fucking go.
I did like a little remix of like a Grateful Dead song.
Yeah,
What?
exactly.
Like the
I was
original-
like,
the
this
original
is
Grateful
dope.
Dead. It's
Okay, let's go.
It's very.
Yeah, okay, play it. I didn't know which one I sent you.
Yeah,
This
you
is
said
brand new.
Begonias.
I just worked on it.
Also,
Like, this is also like a whip. Like it's not done, but I
for
just
sure, it's 2 minutes and
thought it'd be
10
fun to
two
play.
minutes 10 seconds long. Also, for anyone who pays attention to the tea leaves like I do, notice he said I sent you a drum and bass John, and then I told him it was this one, and he said, "Oh, that one," as if there were others in a pocket somewhere. So you gotta pay attention, chat. I'm trying to
There's
teach
a
you
bunch of
things.
them.
Trying to teach you
Yeah.
things. You know what I'm saying? That's why we do the show. You gotta listen to the in
This one
between
needs a
shit.
little bit of work, but I think it's getting in the right direction.
All right. So work in progress. You heard it here first, exclusive.
Yeah.
I will do my normal annoying talk through it. Roti and Poutine every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Twitch.tv/Armani Rain, the track, the valiant,
It's like a
very
house party.
special guest. Yeah, it's a good party vibe, man. I like this. I was in here
Am I
like,
the only
Oh,
one
it's a house
drinking?
party.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
I feel
got
like
water.
this is like the. You know, like after the show, you go back to the hotel room. You go back to the show and you go back to the hotel room and everyone just plays shit off their laptop for each other.
Right. This
Like
is the one.
watch YouTube videos and shit.
Yeah, but we're usually wasted. Everybody's sober in this bitch. Fuck.
No, Chris. Not everyone.
Here we go.
I got to pull up, right? Chat, you know I had to
ready
pull
to
up.
go.
You know I had to pull up. I'm
That's
not
ready
going
to
to just
go.
let it cop off like that. You know what I mean? We're going to wrap this thing up.
traditional.
That was as soon as it started last time, I was like, oh, hold on, let me rewind this real quick. So I had to do it for y'all because I know you wasn't ready for that. So we gonna get back to it. You ready? I need emojis in the chat. Emojis. Bob Ross's. I need the Valiants in there. The tracks if you got them. All my subscribers, put your emojis in the chat. Higher up tier, you get the rap team, John. This is it. This is Roti and Poutine. This one from Kill the Noise. Work in progress.
Sheesh!
Already.
Love it.
Let's fucking go.
Oh wow.
Send me this so I can spit all through this part right here.
I need help with the drums. I gotta control
I'm about to go pour something. We doing it. Let's do it. Soul. It needs soul. Wow.
God damn it, that's all it needs.
That was it. But
Oh, all right, that's just a tease.
something to play.
That's a tease. That's a tease.
Did I not send that to you, Craze? I thought I sent that shit to you. Maybe not.
Dogs.
Nah, bro. No.
That was-
You didn't send
that
it
was
to
an
me.
email to you.
No.
Chad's
No.
bugging.
Fantabulous right there.
The Chad's bugging.
Yo.
That's some good summertime
All right, so
vibes, man. I'm ready.
That checks off all the elements for like a festival.
Yeah.
Big fucking tune.
That shit sounds like
I
July.
do hear what you said about the drums. Yes, like I feel like the drums when it just my honest opinion. Yeah, that's the only work it needs. But like, goddamn, bro, that shit sounded like fucking
July.
some like Shy FX meets fucking Grateful Dead. You said it was
Yeah.
Grateful Dead,
Yeah.
bro. That's
Bruh.
gonna be a huge thing.
Bruh.
That's gonna be huge.
I gotta get the drums right on that shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Drum
just
bass.
think middle of the night.
I think, honestly, Jake, I think it was too much. Like, I feel like just strip it down. Fucking
Yeah.
a good roller.
Bong.
I don't know, man. I liked them.
Cause like right there, like just from the phone, I'm on my phone by the way. Just
I like
on my phone, it sounded like some like an amen, right? When it dropped, it was an amen or something.
No,
It was like layered
bro.
with some drums.
Yeah, let's play it
That
again.
was dope. I'm talking about
Yeah,
when
that-
it drops. When the
Go all
drops.
the way
happened.
on. Yeah.
Wait, am I allowed to play this
That
again? I
whole
just started
intro
doing
is
it.
fire.
All right,
That whole
cool.
intro is fire.
That intro is mean.
Fire.
You're talking about the drum bass drop. These better drums.
No, all that shit is fire.
All right, here we go. We getting wind up. Cab room, please
What y'all
talk
think?
about the
Ask the
drums if you
chat.
like
How
it.
you feeling, chat? Look at this.
Bro, all
Look
that
at
shit
us.
is
Who
fire.
thought we was?
We need a whole lot of this coming up next year. A whole lot of this part right here.
That sounds like Shake Your Body or some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yo. Oh my God.
That's just fire.
It's just a little tighter, but it's proper.
And I'm listening to it on my phone. Jake, send it to me. Send it to me.
Dude,
Send it to me.
after a mix down, that shit's gonna be
I'll pick
fucking bananas. Y'all tripping. That shit's
No,
crazy.
I'm hearing it on my fucking iPhone.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not allowed to really, you know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
the drums are fucked up. You gotta get them right. You're right. I think it needs to be simplified. It
Yeah.
needs better drums
All
on
right.
the drum bass part.
But
But
the
yeah, the
overall-
idea is there. I just
think
wanted to
Ross
make
is
some
grabbing
like,
that
you know
up.
what I wanted to make? Like you're saying, man. I was picturing in my head, like it was in the middle of the pandemic. Like it was towards the end of the year I made that last year.
Mhm.
And I was like, damn, it's like winter. It's like a endless like tunnel we've been in of
Right.
just the most furthest removed place from the good times of being outside,
That shit
drinking a
sounds
beer,
like the
listening to
beach.
music, you know? I was like, man, I want to make some shit that like has that like festival like being outside, kind of, you know, around people, kind of a vibe.
I see Marky
And-
trying to rinse that shit hardcore.
I need
Marky.
absolutely. I need a
I
pina
heard that,
colada. I need a daiquiri.
that
Nah, yo, this is gonna be huge, Jake. Trust me. Like, bro, this is gonna be huge.
never know.
Yeah.
But that Urban Dawn, remember that
For
coming together
reals,
thing?
for reals. Like, it's how
That
you
was like-
like shake
that was
your
like-
fucking body. Like, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
But
It's
just
a
like
thing.
organic, yeah, organic instruments, organic, like just voice, and like, yeah, like mixed up with drum and bass and hip hop and like throwing stuff off the grid a little bit too, like the bass line and everything, like have it more in the pocket kind of feeling.
Oh God, that's all I got to say. If I consider that a snippet. I don't even consider that the whole joint.
I'm ready.
I
I'm
wanna
ready.
see what's
I want to
going
hear
on
what else is
in
going
that
on in that folder as well. That's what I'm talking about.
And keep that same energy. Keep that same energy,
that
Jake.
Yeah,
energy
man.
is
We need
very
that fun,
shit is
the
like
fun,
that's the winning shit right there. And
fun,
like I feel like
funky.
bro, you're gonna like
Yes.
reinvent yourself if you keep going that route. You feel me?
Right.
And remember when we were
Yeah,
talking
the
about
way-
that shit?
The
That's
shit we were
like
talking, the shit we were talking about too, with like things feeling like there's a like just with EDM in general, it feels like there's like more than anything else, a lot of the stuff that's been coming out, it's just like it needs to be good enough to pass like the smell test, where people are like,
Okay.
there's like they sniff it and look at it, they're like, oh, it looks about right, looks about EDM, pass, you know.
there was a COVID joke somewhere in there.
Yeah.
See, that's
Like-
the thing with that record, though. That record will set up the hardest, thrashiest record to follow. I
Yeah,
see
you
that.
could,
Right.
you
Yeah,
could,
yeah.
you could
You know
do
what I
what you
mean?
want with it, man. It's
Right.
perfect. It's good. It's really good. I
That's
told
like
you-
when LK came out, like or Shake Your Body came out. You would play
Right.
Shake Your Body,
Yeah.
and then you're open to do whatever the fuck you want to do after that, because that was such a like palate
moment.
cleanser. Like you're just
Yeah.
like, oh fuck, that was great. What's
It's-
next?
I was also trying to, like, I got to say, I have to admit that I was like trying to copy a little bit of what Matt Zoe has been doing, like, because I
With
hang with him
games?
all the time. Yeah,
that sounds
tune
that
is,
sounds like I
my
would mix games and this tune right
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
Like
God.
Yeah.
Games.
Oh,
That
God.
song is like my favorite. That was like my favorite drum bass tune in a long time. Like I was like,
same,
oh, that shit's crazy.
bro. Yes.
But
Again,
also
it
that kind of
reminded me of
energy.
Shake Your Body. It reminded me of LK. It reminded me of like
It's
fun
right
drum
in
bass.
that space. It's right
Yo,
in that space.
It was, and it was technically
Shout out
like,
Justin
it
Hawks
was-
in the chat.
it's- Sounded, yeah.
And Matt,
Sorry, Jake.
yeah, balances it balances in a very like cool, effortless way a bunch of things that I like about drum and bass, like the technical stuff and the vibe and the organic sounding element of the drums. Like that's one of the things that,
Good eye.
like, I like the techie drum and bass stuff, obviously, like I like Noisia and all that.
right.
Some of that stuff goes too far in that direction though, where I'm like, I can only listen to some of this shit for a certain period of time before I start feeling like, you know, I don't know what I'm listening to anymore.
Who
I
do you
like
listen
the-
to right now, like in drum and bass? Do you, like who do you fuck with right now?
Matt, actually, Justin's in the chat. I love his drum and bass.
All right.
Who's Justin? No, sorry.
Justin
Oh,
Hawks.
Who's Justin?
He used to go as Flight.
Yeah,
Follow
you
the flight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's okay. I don't know his real name. Just call him by their gang
It's
name.
now Justin Hawks. That's
now
his,
it's
that's
now
his new
Justin
name.
Hawks.
He's actually in the
Yeah, now
chat
he's-
right now.
Whoops.
He's been on the show. No, you just pulled
Send me
the.
tunes,
Oh,
send me
so
tunes.
your track.
Yeah, we didn't forget, motherfucker.
Pretty much everything that Matt makes, regardless of genre,
Mm.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
Are you
he's
up?
dope.
Are you up on people like Emanu and like Bunchin?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Him and was it Boonshin?
Bunchin. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. Those guys are dope. Yes, for sure.
Caracol Project. Have you heard of Caracol Project?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this other dude. Actually, you heard of that? You ever heard that dude, Leo Tricks?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
the trap dude.
Yeah, it's like, but he's like dubstep too.
Oh, okay. Like his new shit, just I got a promo from that shit. One of them sounded like dubsteppy, and the other one sounded like trap shit.
There's like a world in between the lines. That's like the most interesting world always, right? Where you're like, is it trap? Is it dubstep? Is it hip hop?
Oh, the hybrid shit is fucking where it's at, bro.
Fire.
So yeah, those kids are dope.
I'm not sure what you consider all minus, but like that's like the, I guess, rhythm shit that I like.
Oh, ominous.
Whatever, ominous, all minus, whatever the fuck his name is.
You guys check out some of these. Check out some of these other kids too, like Global and fucking Black.
Wait, is that how you say ominous?
Ominous.
And like Sora Dubs is dope. Ominous.
Who's that?
Sora Dubs. Check out Sora. You can also check out cats like Global. Global's doing some really cool hybrid shit right now. It's like in between dubstep and trap. Obviously, I've screamed Black Jesus' name a million times. Sweet Tooth as well. All those cats.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah,
really,
the dubstep thing, like, it's weird because, like, for me, with dubstep in general at the moment, see, it's a contentious word to use, right? Because when you say dubstep, people go, "What do you mean?" Like, because there's so many different iterations at this point. But in general, the more aggressive dubstep stuff and like the rhythm stuff and all that, like, that to me is more of something that I like to listen to when I'm going to shows, you know, because some of that feeling of like, you know, like the fucking, yo, what the fuck was that? Like you run up and smack the dude playing, you know?
Can that feeling return back to dubstep right now? Is it possible?
For sure.
For it? You know what I'm talking about? That
absolutely, it's never gonna go away.
Not between 09 and 012.
Yeah.
I miss that feeling. That was the shit to me. Like that was.
Yeah, somebody brought it up in the chat earlier. Like Rusko was kind of the turning point with Cockney Thug and all that shit. That's when A-Track was doing like fucking what was it? The Kicks John. Track, what was the name? Or Crazy, what was the name of that John?
Nike Air John.
The sneaker John.
Nike.
The song, not the actual company. Doesn't matter. Anyway, all that stuff back then.
The stuff I've been listening to a lot of stuff outside of the EDM zone too. Yeah. My favorite album of this year is that Flying Lotus. Yes.
Fly Low he never failed.
The Yasuke?
Yasuke, yeah. That is.
Have you seen the show?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I watched the show first and I was like, hold up. This
okay. I went the other way around.
I watched the first episode of the series and I was like, yo, the music in this is like, not only is it like just good on its own, but it also has this like vibe around it that reminds me a lot of like 90s like golden era anime.
Yeah,
I love.
Absolutely.
And also like it even has some like throwback of like nods to like Blade Runner, like Vangelis and like
did he executive produce the show too, or did he just so it's Fly Low's show. Yeah, you guys should go check it out. It's on Netflix right now. It just came out I think about a week ago. I went the other way around. I actually saw the show first and then listened to the soundtrack. But if you
are we talking about the album that just came out?
Yeah.
Cool.
The show just came out too.
Like I remember Sachi fucked me up. There's a lot of tunes that fucked me up. And I remember thinking like, wow, this is cinematic as fuck.
Flylo's like ill, yo. Flylo is
very dope, very dope.
I would say that there's been a lot of good records that come out like 2020 and 2021 already. But I think that's like, for me personally, that's like, I listened to that, I was like, damn, this is some shit that I wish that I made, you know?
Yeah. But Flylo's always been on that, like, this is what the future sounds like back then. Like, that's how I explain him. Like, I don't know, man. It sounds like old school hip hop with this new shit.
Next level.
Like I'm like, where the fuck did you even?
Yeah, he's crazy.
He's sick, and I don't know, man. His processing's crazy.
That series too, like just as like an overarching creative project, that whole thing. Is
What's it called? I'm looking it up
Yasuke, right now. Yasuke. Yeah, it's on Netflix. On Netflix.
So that was dope. I've been listening to, damn, I should just pull up my Spotify real quick. As much as I hate Spotify, fucking A, they make it easy to listen to music.
Yeah, no.
Fuck, it's just
like, fuck you, but where's that tune I need?
Yeah.
I've been listening to Porter's new album. I thought it was pretty cool. It's not 100% like my thing, but
Yeah, it's not my thing.
I
but I get
respect it.
Not my
and
thing at all.
I think that's fair enough.
Oh, my
right?
bad. Am I being too honest?
No,
No, no,
what the
no.
fuck I'm here for?
We love it.
I mean, there's certain things.
No
about
one
it
in
that-
the chat is mad about what you said.
There's certain things
My
about
bad.
it that I really like, and another thing that I really love about what he's doing is precisely what we're talking about with like trying to create other realms
I respect
for the
that.
music to live, and like
Yeah.
and also he's putting on a lot of really interesting artists, like you mentioned, like Imanu and Bushin, and exposing their music to a whole different demographic of people. Not to say that he's the one that gave them a spotlight, because
Right.
people are already fucking with them, obviously. Like Vision, I know they had released on Vision, didn't they, and a couple other places. That's how they ended up on my radar, at least, was through Noisy Radio and shit like that. But also, like, that guy Swarty, he did like a 35-minute like live performance on Secret Sky, which is like Porter's like online festival. And it's cool, man. Like I feel like that a lot of the streaming festivals that were going on during the pandemic were very like weirdly like associated with like the old world, like the olden times of 2000, like pre-pandemic.
The old world.
You know what I'm saying?
Back
I
when
was
we
like,
roamed
damn,
around
like-
on dirt bikes and shotguns.
I was like, man, there's this whole new format where like you can do, and I'm not trying to talk shit either. I think like EDM programming is what it is. Like there's an audience for that want to put that on.
For sure.
But it just felt like there was like a lot of opportunity for people to do something like what Porter did. And honestly, like I said earlier, like the shit you did, Craze, like you like created a set that lent itself to the platform, you know, like with a visual element and all that kind of stuff. And like, I thought that was really cool. So as a result of following Porter as he's been rolling out this album, it actually exposed me to some new artists. And like, I was already fucking with Sporty, but his Secret Sky set, I've been watching that over and over again. People should check it out. It's really good.
Eliminate is dope. For those in the chat, somebody said Eliminate is dope. Also, MJ just told me there's a new Love, Death, and Robots out tonight, and that's
another
fucking
one.
epic.
My God.
I didn't know that. That needs to be spoken
Death and
about. Go ahead.
Robots.
Time to smoke
continue.
and watch.
Yeah, for
J. Cole
sure.
just dropped this shit right now too.
Yo, that LA Freakers freestyle, god damn. I love when somebody makes me want to write.
Wait. Say it again. What happened?
That
LA
shit
Freak.
made
J.
me
Cole,
like
LA
J. Cole.
Freak, LA Leakers freestyle.
Oh,
You didn't hear it? Because I put it in the
murked.
chat, fucker.
He murked.
you did?
I did.
Bro, that shit
It was funny. I put it in the chat and you started
Hold
talking
up.
about
If
something
it was
else.
between,
And I was
if it was like an
okay.
exchange that I missed, and you guys had like sent 30 messages, I might not have caught it. So
I sent the link and you started talking about something else. And I was like, all right. I was like,
damn.
Yeah, that shit was murky, bro. That was murky city right there.
That was another one of those moments. Like Black Thought had one of those moments.
Yeah.
J. Cole just had one of those moments.
Royce the
Like,
5'9",
it's
it was
one of
up
those
there.
moments where you were just
it
like,
wasn't as long as Royce's, but it was
Right.
just as good.
Royce's. I said Black Thought. Which one was Royce's?
Black Thought rapped for
Royce
9
came like a
minutes.
couple weeks after Black Thought did,
yeah,
right?
Royce came a couple weeks after Black Thought
I mean,
on
after that
LA
Black Thought
Leakers.
shit, it was
Well,
a
Black
wrap.
Thought did it
right.
with Funkmaster Flex. Nah, you got to listen to Royce's. Royce's on
Royce
LA
is
Leakers.
different
Did it
though. Hold
last
up.
10 minutes though?
No. Listen.
I gotta
Roy,
give it the thought on this one.
I'm a
Roy-
black.
Roy-
I'm from Philly. I love Black Thought. I'm trying to tell you they are on equal planes. It is
Royce
what it
is different though. His was different. Remember, like he had a
Right.
couple of like he stopped
He
for
did,
it
like, two
while Flex said
freestyles,
something
right.
right, and then he kind of
That
did some other
don't
shit.
make a
Bro,
difference.
It was a
that
different
Black
thing.
Thought shit, that Black Thought shit was like 80 minutes long.
No one's disagreeing
Breath
with that,
control was
Crazy.
He was like,
insane.
everybody, shut the
Crazy.
fuck up. That's
I'm
what
not
that was.
disagreeing with you.
That shit
I'm
was
just
a
saying,
moment in
I
fucking
want everyone to know
hip-hop
this is what 10 years of touring sounded like after a club.
history. Yes. Every night, me and Monty
Every
would go
time.
at it. Like every
Argue
night.
every night. So go listen to the
And I was
damn
always right, of
freestyle
course.
and then hit me back later. And I was right, of course. Whatever. Anyway,
One other thing I want to mention real quick is that
Sorry.
new Colin Sound EP,
ooh,
Chronos.
Oh,
That shit was
Chronos?
really dope. It's like
Yeah.
very, very.
it's the Beats vibe. It's like I've always been a Cohen Sound fan because like that's what they do. They do that boom bap, electronic, future, fucking
That's that shit.
amazing shit. Yeah, that shit was fire. I mean, anything that Vision puts out is fire. Like they don't miss.
That's true.
Monty, what was it called again? I'm trying to look for this shit. Sorry.
Which thing?
Yazuki.
Yeah. How do you spell that?
Yasuke. I thought we moved on from this. I was like, fam.
Sorry.
I was
My
like,
bad, guys. I'm fading.
ROYCE 59 LA Leakers, motherfucker.
Oh, he's talking about something else.
This guy. Oh, Yasuki.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right.
I've been
Hey,
singing
man.
that new Children of Zeus song in my head like nonstop for a week. I can't get it out of my head.
Nice.
I heard this really dope joint. It was like, chicken wing, and bologna. No? Okay. So look, we at the 3-hour mark right now. And I know us. We will
can go
do
to
the
6 in the
5,
morning.
right?
6 in the morning.
If I don't make an executive decision right now, here I'll cut the track off. We can just keep talking in Zoom, and the chat's like, "Fuck you, why
I
not?"
probably got to get going.
Yeah,
I got,
no, I
like,
understand. Yeah.
shit I got to do tomorrow.
So,
But
yo, listen. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Absolutely,
We are
dude.
beyond honored to have you on. We've talked about it many a times on air and off air, so we're super excited that you came on. We're super appreciative. Thank you so very much.
Hell
Definitely,
no, I'm
dude.
glad. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm glad it turned into like a little hangout session. I feel like we're at, like I said, like a gig, like after the show.
Yeah,
Breaking
Craze hopping in, man. You my mans. I fucking love you.
My guy. I
lot
love
of- a lot
hearing
of-
Jake talk.
A lot
I'm
of
only here
people.
for Jake. Fuck all of y'all.
No, I figured that part. People were like, it's people in the chat like,
I
oh
like
man,
hearing
get
you talk. I like
Craze
hearing
should
all
come
you guys
on
talk,
regularly.
man.
I was like, 1, he won't, and 2, I can't afford him, so fuck
Like
that.
it's not even like a low key, a super high key thing about. You're asking about the drive-in thing.
Mm,
Like this is what I love about playing shows. You know, is
right.
like, and I got my little taste of it, held on to it through the pandemic with Twitch and like with
Absolutely.
Zoom and all that shit and Discord, because it keeps me feeling like I belong somewhere, you know.
Bless, bro. That's huge.
So I
Definitely.
appreciate
Likewise.
y'all both on and off
Bless,
Cyberspace
bro.
Yeah, man.
Zone.
Likewise, man.
I'll
We've
see you
been
again in person hopefully soon enough. It seems like it's gonna happen
soon,
Yes, sir.
soon, man.
Yeah.
We're
I
getting
got
around
one
that
more.
corner.